off to one of their best starts ever, and it's a team that's overcoming injuries, and they're coming from behind, so they're going to be tough to beat here today. They're looking for a sweep.
When we come back, it's a look at some history being revealed. The class of 2014, the Cardinals Hall of Fame. That's next.
Exceptional careers and significant achievements of the greatest players in Cardinals history. Each member of the Cardinals Hall of Fame is permanently enshrined in the new Cardinals Hall of Fame gallery presented by Edward Jones, located on the second floor of Cardinals Nation in Ballpark Village, just outside the entrance to the team's new museum. On opening day, the Cardinals inducted the inaugural class, consisting of 22 Cardinals who are either enshrined in the National Baseball Hall of Fame or Cardinals or whose number has been retired by the club. Since early March, fans have been encouraged to vote for the two most deserving players from the modern era from a ballot of 8 players determined by a red ribbon panel. Thanks to our partners at Edward Jones, who sponsored the online ballot, over 77,000 votes were cast. With us on the field today from Edward Jones, we have Brad Frick, principal, and Jim Weddle, managing partner. Thank you to Edward Jones for their support of the Cardinals Hall of Fame initiative. At this time, I would like to bring Bill DeWitt Jr. to the microphone to announce the 2014 induction class. Bill?
Thanks, Sean. We're proud to announce the first induction class of the St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame. The achievements of these four individuals have earned them the honor of joining the greatest names in Cardinals history. Starting with their modern era, he was a great center fielder and fan favorite who played 8 seasons with the Cardinals, leading the team to 2 National League pennants and a World Championship in 2006, Jim Edmonds. He played 13 seasons with the Cardinals, a 4-time All-Star who played in 3 World Series, National League MVP in 1985, and on the 1982 World Championship team. One of the most popular players in Cardinals history, Willie McGee. A lifelong St. Louisan who has been with the Cardinals family for more than half a century. He had an excellent playing career, included being part of 3 pennant winners and 2 World Championship teams, followed by more than 4 decades in the radio booth as one of the team's most popular broadcasters, Mike Shannon. Representing the veterans era, he played 11 seasons with the Cardinals, 7-time All-Star, National League MVP in 1944-4, and helped the team win the World Series in 1942, 1944, and 1946. One of the greatest players in Cardinals history, Marty Marion. Please join me in congratulating all 4 of these very worthy members of the Cardinals Hall of Fame. Thank you.
To commemorate our 2014 class, please direct your attention to the left field wall. Congratulations to Jim Edmonds, Willie McGee, Mike Shannon, and Marty Marion, our 2014 St. Louis Cardinals Hall of Fame class.
The game's best baseball city, best fans, and now a Hall of Fame. We're back with more on your home of the Cardinals, Fox Sports Midwest, in just a moment. Cardinals baseball is coming up this afternoon. brought to you by Budweiser. Great times are waiting. Grab some buds. It's Chevy Truck Month. Visit your Mid-America Chevy dealers to take advantage of Truck Month offers on the all-new Chevy Silverado. And by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. About a half hour ago, he landed smack dab in the middle of this diamond. The Navy parachute team, the Leapfrogs. So we've had that, the excitement of the inaugural class of the Cardinals Hall of Fame, and the Cardinals are trying to avoid a sweep today. Let's take a look at the lineup for Ron Renicke's club. Best record in baseball, Carlos Gomez leads it off, then Elian Herrera, Scooter Gennett, Jonathan Lucroy back in there, Lyle Overbay, Chris Davis, Mark Reynolds, Jeff Bianchi, and the pitcher batting ninth, Matt Garza, against the Cardinals' Shelby Miller. Archaea starter, the right-hander, in his second season in the big leagues, Shelby Miller.
Shelby's been very good his last 3 outings. The strikeouts are up, but so are the walks. I think Shelby's #1 goal here this afternoon is to get deeper in the ballgame.
If you're just joining us moments ago, Hall of Fame class will include Jim Edmonds, Willie McGee, Marty Marion, and working to the booth our left for KMOX and the radio network for so many years, our friend Mike Shannon.
Congratulations to the 4 new inductees, and we had a chance to end the visit with Mike Shannon, who was very surprised. I don't know how you keep a secret from Mike Shannon, but the Cardinals did, and very moved by it and very appreciative as well.
The wall is open in right. The wagon gate needs to be closed as Alan Craig is looking for help. And away we go. Leading things off, it's Carlos Gomez late in the game last night. A key home run. That made it 4-3. The Cardinals then tied it up thanks to Alan Craig with an RBI triple, and eventually in extra innings the Brewers would win it. They are such a hot team right now, only 1 loss on the road. The first pitch is fouled back and we're underway. Gomez is hitting .288. He had 24 home runs last season as a leadoff man, already with 6 this year, and he's driven in 14. Temperature is 50 degrees here in the Gateway City. Behind the plate, it's Tony Cruz. We thought we may see him last night with Lance Lynn, and Yadier Molina gets the day game off this afternoon and a scheduled off day tomorrow for the Cardinals. Handled there by Adams to Miller for the out. Look at the Cardinals defensively this afternoon. Around the Horn is brought to you by Dobbs. Matt Holliday in left, John Jay in center, Alan Craig is in right. It's Carpenter, Peralta, Garcia, and Adams along the infield. And Cruz is behind the plate. Mike Matheny saying before the game, it's always hard to come to the ballpark and leave Yadier Molina out of the lineup, but they're trying to find the right time to give him days off, and coming off 2 back-to-back gut-wrenching losses, hard way to do it. That pitch is taken low by the switch hitter, Elian Herrera. And a fly ball that's lifted into center for out number 2. Meet the umpires here this afternoon. Dan Bellino is calling the balls and strikes. Jeff Kellogg, our crew chief. Tony Basner, he's at second. DJ Rayburn down at third. Scooter Gennett, the second baseman, digs in for the first time, and he's hitting .296.
We've talked about it in this series. The Brewers are dealing with a lot of injuries. No Aramis Ramirez, no Ryan Braun, no Segura in this lineup today. And Gennett, hitting in the third spot, has been really effective against the Cardinals. 15 starts against St. Louis, and he has at least 1 hit in 14 of those games. Really good season a year ago. He hit .324, and I would say was a big bright spot in a rather dull season for the Brewers last year. There's Ramirez, who got hit in the elbow, and he's really day-to-day. And all these Brewers, Dan, they're hurt, but they're not on the disabled list. And that really kind of makes for some interesting moves late in games for the Brewers by having such a thin bench.
2 balls and no strikes on the Brewers' second baseman. And a ground ball hit to the right side. Garcia making his first major league start ever. Puts him away. Good start for Shelby Miller. Cardinals coming up in the home half of the first. On your home of the Cardinals, Fox Sports Midwest. Let's take a look at Mike Matheny's lineup this afternoon. It's Matt Carpenter, followed by John Jay and Holiday here in the first. Adams, Craig, Peralta, Craig Garcia, Tony Cruz, and Shelby Miller. Very good numbers for Johnny Peralta. We'll talk more about that in a moment. And the Cardinals will face hard-throwing right-hander, the former Cub, finished up last season with Texas, signed in the offseason by Milwaukee, and that's Matt Garza.
He's always been a bit of an enigma to me. He's a guy that's been around a long time, a 9-year career at the big league level, and everybody knows about Matt Garza because they know what his upside is. But as a 68 and 69 career record will indicate, he's really kind of had some average seasons, but he has the ability and the capacity to really shut you down, and he is riding high on a pitching staff right now that's one of the best in baseball.
Because of the injuries, as you mentioned, the lineup decimated for Milwaukee, and guys are playing at different spots defensively, and that's Rick's new hat that we'd like to give him. There's Ron Renneke. He's done a very good job. Matter of fact, Rick, with a win today, the Brewers would tie the 2003 Yankees for the most wins before May in Major League history. 21-6, and Milwaukee comes into play today at 20-7.
Think about that makeover after the season they had a year ago, and many of the same players.
I'm not sure they have a defined ace in their rotation as Carpenter steps in for the first time hitting .264, but they've got 1 through 5, a good solid 5. Last night we saw that with Kyle Loesch, who struck out 9. The first pitch is popped up by Carpenter into shallow left. Chris Davis, he's had a good series. Big hits late in games, and there's a look at Loesch.
Cardinal fans know how good Kyle Loesch can be, and just imagine a staff with 5 Kyle Loesch's. And again, you'd say maybe not the #1 starter, but a notch below that, and there's his numbers against the Cardinals. But you throw in Gallardo and Estrada and Peralta and Garza, very kind of similar in terms of their value to a ball club. So maybe a lot of #2 or 3 starters on one staff, and they're all off to really a terrific start this year.
Here's John Jay. Cardinals really searching for traction, the center field spot. Saw Borges early, slow start for him. Jay picked it up. Now has dropped off just a bit, hitting .238. And last night, Randall Gritchett slicing into left center. That ball will get down. One hops off the wall, and John Jay trotting into second base with a one-out double.
There is some question about whether John Jay would get the start here today, as he was 0 for his last 15. You mentioned the slide, but he has hit Matt Garza extremely well. Jumps on the first pitch he sees and drives it into that left center field gap. That's really, I would say, John Jay's power alley, the left center field gap.
Runner at second for Matt Holliday. Holliday with 16 RBIs. So he's really picked up the pace in that department. Pair of home runs, hitting .275.
Cardinal team really looking for an identity offensively this year, and we did a lot of talking in the offseason about how no Carlos Beltran, but it's going to be a team with speed with Colton Wong and Peter Borges. But both those guys off to rough starts offensively. Borges not playing now. Jay in center and Wong back in AAA. So we're not seeing a lot of stolen bases either. In fact, Cardinals second to last in the National League. Only the Marlins with less stolen bases. So not the offense that Mike Matheny thought he would have. So somebody's got to step up and be that Carlos Beltran, Berkman, Pujols guy and drive this offense.
1 ball, 1 strike. You also envision that team would not hit .330 with runners in scoring position. Shot into center field off the bat of Holliday. Here comes Jay. Here comes the throw. Offline. 1-0 Cardinals. Holliday is in safely at second. They loved the aggressiveness of the Gold Glover last year, Carlos Gomez. However, at times, loves to show off the arm. And in this case, he misses the cut. And that allows Holliday to get into scoring position.
That's his job, hit the cutoff man. And they said that he's been much better than he was when he was younger. When he was younger, he would airmail him over the, not only the cutoff man's head, but off of the base he was throwing to, because he just loves to throw. And yes, he's a Gold Glover, and you appreciate the fact that he thinks he can throw people out, but Holliday in scoring position, a plus for the Cardinals and Matt Adams.
A breaking ball, and that's taken low. 1 out, runner at second. Matt Adams, for the most part, has been in that cleanup spot all season, and the Cardinals have 5 RBIs from Matt this year. They do have a lot of hits, batting .327, but just 1 home run.
And 45 points higher than that .327 against right-handed pitching. Although I think he's had good at-bats against lefties, but you know, righties obviously is going to be better, and Mike Matheny liking this matchup against Garza.
It has been breaking ball after breaking ball to Adams here in this series. And there he gets the fastball. And you wonder if he's thinking breaking ball. Here's a 1-2. Hit out of play. Another big crowd is expected here tonight. We have not been under 40,000 for any game so far this year.
Cool afternoon, is it not? Temperature's right around 50 degrees, I believe, at game time. Didn't see that coming.
Here's a 1-2. A strikeout of Matt Adams. Take a look at the Brewers defensively with 2 outs here in the first. Around the Horn is brought to you by Dobbs. Davis, Gomez, Herrera in the outfield. Reynolds to start at third. Bianchi with Segura out. He's at short. Scooter Gennett at second. Overbay is at first. And Jonathan Lucroy is back behind the plate. Sat out game 2. Craig is hitting 192, but there's signs of him starting to come around. You're seeing him hit for power to the opposite way. Pair of home runs now and 8 RBIs. Rick, as a team, you know, just look at the numbers, and we've talked about it. They're way down, and you would anticipate eventually they're going to get up. But right now, you wonder if the big bats that are counted on and coming through, with Beltran being gone, and they've heard about it all off season, spring training, early this year, but it's Craig and Peralta, some of the guys that are off to slower starts, if they're just putting extra pressure on themselves to make up for that loss.
Well, I think pressure is part of it, but they certainly have the responsibility at this point to make up for that run production that the Cardinals lost. And what I've noticed, at least in the early going, is a lot of streaky hitting, really, throughout the Cardinal lineup. Craig takes a step forward and a step backwards, 2 steps forwards and a step backward. And we've seen that with John Jay and Adams and Peralta, and really seen it up and down the lineup. Matt Carpenter gets hot, then he doesn't. And trying to have guys a little more consistent together is what I think John Mabry and Mike Matheny are looking for.
The 2-1. 3-1 with Peralta on deck. Told you about those numbers that Johnny has against this right-hander. And you know that Matt Garza knows those numbers.
Guarantee he knows it.
So you would think that Craig gets something to hit here. And Craig drives it into right center. And it will hang up for Gomez, who's got batting gloves in both back pockets as he waves goodbye to his infield. The Hyundai replay as we head to break. Ball was smoked off the bat of Holiday, and it's 1-0. Maybe for Cardinals baseball this afternoon. Cardinals lead it on a Holiday single and RBI. Drives in his 17th, and before our first pitch, Mike Shannon, part of the inaugural Cardinals Hall of Fame class of 2014. Mike, Marty Marion, Jim Edmonds, and Willie McGee. Man loves his St. Louis Cardinals.
In moments like this, I'm thankful for the fact that I've had a chance to watch Mike Shannon play back years ago, and outstanding player in his own right, then get a chance to work with him where he's doing games and I'm playing, and then actually work with Mike Shannon. And he has just been around a very long time and a part of the great teams of the 60s, and so many ways he just embodies Cardinal baseball right now.
Here's a 1-1 pitch to Jonathan Lucroy. Up the middle, past Garcia, and a base hit. First hit allowed by Shelby after a 1-2-3 first. Brings in Lyle Overbay at the big game-winning RBI last night. Now time for you to tweet your photo to us. Use the hashtag STLFanPhoto. We'll have one of those later in our telecast today. Overbay could not get a bunt down, and that proved to be a good thing for Milwaukee. Had 2 strikes on him, and then he singled up the middle and drove in the game-winning run. More and more, Rick, the Cardinals are starting to use this defense with Peralta near the bag at second. More shifts than ever this year. Carpenter way off the line.
I think the Cardinal pitching staff has a greater comfort with the shifts behind them than they did a year ago. Mike Matheny, Derek Williquist have mentioned repeatedly that they are concerned that the pitcher be on board with any shift that they make, and it doesn't do them any good if the pitcher feels kind of out of whack because the guys aren't where they're supposed to be behind him. They get frustrated by it, and then you really defeat the whole purpose. And I think the shift has now gotten a little bit more extreme as Matt Carpenter has moved to the right side of second base. Again, I think based on count, 2-0, you're thinking it's a drive, the baseball count, a power count. So then you put all 3 guys on the right side of the infield.
The 2-0. Well, Overbay could not get a bunt in play last night. If he drops a bunt down here up the third base line, pretty much guaranteed a base hit.
And I think you roll the dice with a 2-0 count and say that the pitcher's behind right now anyway. So if that happens, that's not the worst thing in the world. Not what you want, but the worst thing in the world is if he hits one up in the upper deck in right field.
The 2-1 pitch on the inside corner. 2-2. Back-to-back very long games. 1 and 2 of this series, so much so that Mike Matheny spent the night in his office last night. Did not go home, and he said usually that drive home is where he can kind of clear his mind after a game, does his post-game duties with the press. He keeps a notebook, and many times he'll go over the notes that he made during the game with his coaching staff, but in this case at home he likes to drive to his house and get a good night's sleep. He has told us that he can put games behind him for the most part, but last night he was channeling his inner Dick Vermeil. He didn't cry though.
I think
no tears.
I think Joe Gibbs is the one that really started that.
Exactly. 3-2.
Joe Gibbs started it. They won a Super Bowl, and then every coach had their general manager come to him the next year in the NFL and say, hey, maybe you ought to think about sleeping in your office every once in a while. Then the coach did it. Then the assistant coaches do it. And now it's kind of commonplace. Not in baseball, though.
Copycat league. The one that I heard in baseball that did it all the time was Jim Leland, and that was when he was with the Rockies. Here's a 3-2 pitch. Lucroy, the runner at first, not running and out of play. It's hard not to take a look at the splits for Shelby Miller and see what he's done at home in his young career. Dominant here at Busch Stadium. On the road, a different story. It was good to see last time out he beat the Pittsburgh Pirates, a team that he was 0-5 against. 4 losses last year and then a loss earlier this season.
Damn, I got to go back to Mike sleeping in his office for a second. I know you got the scoop on this. I mean, I've been in Mike's office many times. I don't see a bed in there.
I think there's a sofa. So he's got the sofa.
Been on that sofa. That's not exactly that comfortable.
I've been on that sofa too.
So I want some details here.
Swung on and missed. Well, I didn't sleep with him, however, so I wasn't in the room with him. But I can tell you this. There are motion detected lights, so every time he was moving, the lights would pop on.
Oh, no.
So he didn't get much sleep last night. From the Navy parachute team, the Leapfrogs. It's a camera, put it right on top of his helmet, flying into Busch Stadium.
With that motion there, would you pardon me for a moment while I cross that off my bucket list as things I want to do someday?
Why? Backhanded by Peralta. They get the lead man. The turn by Garcia, and safe is Davis. Late great Jack Buck did that. He went skydiving because he wanted it off his bucket list. Here's the landing. It was somewhat soft, and they slid in shallow center.
I can ride a bull, but I'm not going to do that.
And for people that didn't see it, it was truly just a milestone night, Fox Sports Midwest history. Rick was on the mechanical bull over at Ballpark Village.
I love this angle, Dan. We've been showing a lot more views from around the stadium this year, and this particular angle shows the velocity and just how close the pitcher is from a hitter's point of view. And it's often difficult to reproduce the real speed of a baseball game.
And Reynolds hits it out to deep center field. Jay is back at the wall, and it's gone. Milwaukee on top, and again for the third day in a row they come from behind to take a lead. The 6th home run this year for Mark Reynolds.
Only 4 players in baseball with more home runs than Mark Reynolds since 2008.
Does that surprise you? I saw that as well.
It does. Cabrera the most, Pujols the second most. And Reynolds strikes out a lot, but he hits a lot of these.
Shelby Miller has allowed now 6 home runs. And a strike to Bianchi, the 8th place hitter. Up the middle, off of Miller to Peralta. From his backside into the glove of Johnny Peralta and over to Adams. 1-6-3. Peralta leads it off when we come back. of the second as Mark Reynolds has hit a 2-run homer off of Shelby Miller. Rick's Toyota keys to the game.
One of the keys involves Shelby Miller, the Cardinals starter. His pitch count has gotten very high very quickly in his last few outings, and he hasn't been able to get through the 6th inning. Just 22 pitches through the first 2, so a good start there despite the 2-run home run. And the producers, you talked about it and touched on it, Dan, the importance of the producers, Holiday, Adams, and Craig, supplying some offense for St. Louis. We're going to be counting on them all season long, and one of them has to kind of just take charge and start driving in more runs. And of course Matt Carpenter's part of that as a table setter, but you really need a lot of production in the middle of your lineup, especially on days when Molina's not playing.
So Johnny Peralta leads it off, and Peralta, very good numbers, 13 for 28. That's a .464 average against Matt Garza. 2-1 in favor of Milwaukee. They're trying to go for a sweep here in St. Louis. Already have won the series. First time they've done that in 7 tries, the last 7 against the Cardinals. And that dates back to 2012. Mike Matheny told me in spring training when I asked him about percentages and numbers and how you play those as you get a look at the 1-0 pitch. He said you really start paying attention when you get to about 25 to 30 at bats between a hitter and a pitcher. He said prior to that you really look at what the hitter has done last 5 days, what they've done against lefties or righties in the last 2 nights. Those kind of numbers become more prevalent, but 25 to 30 matchups, that's plenty enough of a sample size for them to say Peralta's in.
I totally agree with that, and I also think that baseball has made the mistake over the years of not taking into consideration what a guy did in AAA against somebody, or you talk about their experience, include spring training, postseason. I mean, it's not just the 10 at-bats that are regular season at-bats. There's more to it than that.
Popped up, Lucroy, Reynolds, and the third baseman takes it for the first out. Brings in Greg Garcia.
Cardinals, Dan, only one time in this millennium have finished under 500. That came in 2007. The record was 10-14 that year, and I'm kind of starting to sense a bit of a theory for that. Tony La Russa was a guy that liked to compete in spring training when other teams weren't really thinking about winning, and I think that allowed those teams to get off to fast starts. And I think Mike Matheny has that same philosophy in spring training. What I think is changing is other teams are starting to act that way. You get to spring training, they're game ready day one, not just kind of working it out and testing things out. They're trying to compete and win right away.
Here's an 0-1 pitch to Garcia. Hit to short. Low throw, and Garcia got down the line, but out by a step. 2 down. That 2017, you see the replay here with Bianchi at short, Segura on the bench dealing with that facial issue and getting hit. But 2007, remember they lost Chris Carpenter. He made his first start and went out with the Tommy John, I believe, that year, but done for the year. And the Cardinals, actually, it took them all season. They got to September and had a chance in a series to get to first place with a sweep, and they were blown out in a series against the Cubs early on in that month, and that was it. It just took forever for them to play catch up, and that's why even though it's April, you do get worried about getting buried. You don't want that to happen, clearly.
I think that's well said, and it's not that championships are made in April, but you can really make it a lot harder if you don't get off to a good start.
1-0 pitch to Tony Cruz. Done a very good job as the backup to Yadier Molina. Cruz is hitting .417, and we mentioned how Mike Matheny flirted with the idea of having Tony catching Lance Lynn, which had been the pattern early on in this month. And he looked at the numbers that Yadi had against Loesch, and it paid off. Molina hits a 3-run homer in the first, so really a 2-for-1 here with the day game, off day tomorrow, and then Molina ready to go for Friday in Chicago.
Yadi's been outstanding this season, and so is Tony Cruz filling in for him. And the outstanding is a different measurement when you're the backup catcher. Honestly, you get a hit, you handle the pitcher, you're a great defensive or backup catcher. You don't have to be a big home run guy. You just have to produce some, and Tony's done at least that.
Keep yourself sharp for about one start every 7 to 10 days, maybe, over the last 10 years as a backup to Molina. And a low strike. So he comes in hitting .417, no home runs and 3 RBIs.
Is it a low strike?
Absolutely, through your red-colored glasses that you wear every telecast, Rick.
You've seen them.
They're beautiful.
Thinking about getting red-colored contact lenses so I don't have to bring the glasses.
It slices foul. You buying in? You think this Brewers team is going to sustain, maybe not this pace, but a championship type pace?
Well, I'm a let's just say I'm a hesitant buyer about the Brewers. I think people were touting them even in the offseason. People thought that this team with Garza and others were going to be much better than they were a year ago, and I was a little doubtful. Wasn't sure how the Ryan Braun factor would work out, but I think they've kind of turned the page on that. He got a nice reception at home. They're off to a good start, and it appears that their center fielder is for real.
First walk issued by Garza, the 2020 vision graphic. The last 6 National League teams to get to 20 wins first. Brewers could do that, or have done that, excuse me. The Cardinals, you see what they did in 13. In 2012, the Cardinals, again in 10, St. Louis, and finished second in the Central. I thought it was interesting that when Mike was talking to the media today, he said, usually we're the team, and we have been there before, what the Brewers are experiencing now. Get off to the good start, play championship-type baseball. And so there is a sense of urgency to get a win today, get through the next road trip, and then come home with all those home games and start to take off.
Well, here's why I think that makes sense. I think there's a possibility, a trap, I would say, in baseball where you say, that's only April. And then you say it's only May. It's only the first half. It's a long season. Next thing you know, you're saying wait until next year. And Mike Matheny's not going to let that happen.
Pair of strikeouts for Garza. Brewers on top 2-1 after 2. Milwaukee lead in the third, but it's Rick's radar. What do you have today?
Well, certainly thinking about the Cardinals Hall of Fame, the inaugural class, the inductees here today have been announced. Edmonds, McGee, Shannon, and Marion. I think just a wonderful class, and I think what folks will be happy to hear is when the actual ceremony happens in August, we will be covering that on Fox Sports Midwest, and And I think that's going to be a great opportunity for fans to express more personally to these guys just what they've meant to their enjoyment of Cardinal baseball over the years.
Matt Garza, then Gomez and Herrera. Mike Shannon has given over 50 years of his life to this organization. Player, broadcaster, and grew up, as most of you know, right here in St. Louis, cheering for Stan the Man and the Birds on the Bat. So I'm sure this is a very special day for him. Think about that, over 50 years.
I think we saw it with Mike up close and personal, you and I both, that he's a guy that kind of just exudes confidence and just kind of is his own guy, and but at some deep level every player is touched by the fact that he's being recognized by fans and by the organization. And we really saw a very kind of sensitive Mike Shannon as he was accepting thank yous in the booth right before we got on the air here, and good for him. Happy for him. Very happy for him.
Yep. Slowly hit to Garcia. And I know this is special for anybody that played for the Cardinals with Willie McGee, and I know that's one of your favorite teammates.
Yeah, I bet you $1 he's humble when he's inducted in August. I mean, that really defines Willie McGee. Not just these numbers, but a 4-time All-Star, 3-time Gold Glove winner. And that year he had in 1985, when he was the National League MVP, he could do nothing wrong. Burst onto the scene in 1982 in the World Series.
This is well hit by Gomez out to center, and this one is gone. Just a bomb off the bat of Carlos Gomez, his second home run in this series. 7 home runs for Gomez already this year.
Gomez certainly plays the game with style. That style led to a altercation with the Pirates. He's got that 3-game suspension, which he is appealing. But how about that extension and power exhibited by Carlos Gomez? Not your classic leadoff hitter.
Great to see the White Rat. Whitey Herzog, the Hall of Famer. As Herrera looks at strike one, 1-1. Herrera fly to center. What was it like playing for Whitey?
Oh, he's great. Terrific. Very easy to play for. His expectations were, say, minimal in terms of number of rules. He just said play hard every day and show up on time. And of course there were a lot of corollaries to that about acting professional that were carried out by the older players and by the coaches. But Whitey, very relaxed manager. We talked about fishing more than he talked about baseball.
We always mention how La Russa was innovative, and he was, hitting the pitcher eighth and did some odd things along the way. People forget that Whitey Herzog would bring in Todd Worrell, throw him, and then put him in right field for another matchup because he'd bring in a lefty-lefty, let's say, and then Worrell would come back into the game and pitch.
Fan asked me a question about that just yesterday, and I know you will come up with the answer, Dan, because let's face it, you're brilliant. But if let's say Todd Worrell's in the game and he's the pitcher of record as the winning pitcher because the Cardinals scored the inning before, he goes back out for the 9th inning. Ken Daly comes in, gets an out.
Does he get the save?
Worrell goes to right field, comes back in and closes it. Does he get the win and the save?
I would say no. Am I right?
I don't know.
No.
I'm asking because I don't know, and I figured you would know.
I'm taking this conversation as a shot to me.
It's not. When the fan
That's a great question.
Well, when the fan asked me the question, I said I was stumped.
I know you weren't speechless.
No, of course not. That never happens.
0-1. That's a base hit into center. And Miller getting roughed up a bit here in this 3rd inning. It's been a home run and back-to-back singles. That one by Scooter Gennett, and it brings in Lucroy.
Whoa, what is it?
Fox Sports Midwest invites you to join the Rams at their official Bud Light Draft Day parties at select Buffalo Wild Wings. That's May 8th. stlouisrams.com/draft day.
Well, I think I probably should have asked Rick Hummel that question instead of Dan McLaughlin, as Derek Lilliquist is continuing his conversation with Shelby Miller. Shelby has had issues with control the last few games, and he seems to have solved that here this afternoon. There's a look at Rick Hummel. Rick, we got a question for you later. But Miller having issues here today with control within the strike zone, as the Brewers are off to a good start. 5 hits in the early going, including a couple of home runs, one by Mark Reynolds and one by Gomez. Jonathan Lucroy. Takes ball 1. Lucroy has not hit the Redbirds well this year. Base hit in the second inning. 3 for 18 on the season. Very solid bat, however, in the middle of that Brewers lineup. Cardinals play him deep. Straight up on the infield. The 1-0. A lot of strikes from Shelby Miller today, but the Brewers are jumping on him early. Mark Reynolds, 2-run shot in the second inning, and Carlos Gomez, a 1-out homer here in the third inning, followed by a couple of base hits by Herrera and Jeanette.
One ball, one strike. And a fly ball lifted to left. Holiday drifting, makes the catch. Throw will come into second, and we'll have runners at the corners with 2 down.
Got away with a hanging curveball right there.
So Lyle Overbay, who is 0 for 1, struck out back in the second inning. The shift is on here for Overbay. Runners at the corners, and the first pitch is a strike. One ball, one strike. Greg Garcia is on the outfield grass. Second baseman for the Cardinals today. And a check on the runner at first.
I'll be interested to see whether Yadier Molina and Tony Cruz have any conversations in between innings. I think it's a kind of a push-pull for Molina to figure out whether he should interject or not. With a catcher, you want to give him full autonomy as he's handling Shelby Miller here today. But if you're watching the game and you're Yadier Molina, you may see some things because you're more used to working with him in game situations.
Runner goes, Cruz to second, and out. They got him. The high tag by Peralta. Nice work, Tony Cruz. If that tag isn't there, that's another run. drink for just 50 cents the next day. So keep the savings going all season long at your nearest On the Run. The top of the lineup for the Cardinals, it'll be Carpenter, Jay, and Holiday. Matt Carpenter flied out to left. And he's 0 for 1. Matt Garza, a couple of home runs, one by Reynolds, the other by Gomez, and it's given this right-hander a 3-1 lead as the Brewers look for the sweep here in St. Louis, and a strike at the knees to Carpenter. Garza was with Chicago and has had some less than flattering remarks about his former organization, telling Jeff Samardzija in no uncertain terms, if you can, get out of here. Garza feeling that at least 30 wins left on the table, playing for a lesser team. Chicago dealt him to Texas last year, where he was around 500 for the stretch run. Became a free agent. There was a monster deal on the table from the Angels. He was on vacation. That deal was pulled back because he didn't want to deal with it. He said, I'm on vacation. I'm looking to get away. This is slicing near the left field corner, and the catch is made. Nice play by Davis. So then the Brewers stepped in, and here he is in Milwaukee.
One thing that you find out in this game is you really find out about a guy when he's on a losing team. You find out just how good your teammates are when things aren't going so well. When it's going well, everybody's happy, everybody loves you, but you know, the Cardinals have won 3 out of their last 10 games. Come to the ballpark, you're not feeling that good. I mean, you need your teammates. You need somebody to encourage you. You certainly don't want people to go the selfish route and start talking about themselves and their contract and their numbers and their blah, blah, blah. That just becomes, in my mind, another negative to add on top of the already tough situation.
Jay with a double into left center. Then was brought in on a single by Holiday. This may be a odd question to ask you, but how much is the business side of the game talked about when you're playing the game? You know, you're down the bullpen, millions of different topics come up.
Very little if done correctly. You've got the right veteran players. I know one year, and Vince Coleman had a contract dispute in the offseason, and opening weekend here in St. Louis, he was talking about it down the bullpen with Dave Ricketts, and Dave Ricketts jumped him. And it said, you talk about your contract in the offseason, you played baseball in the season. And he took it well. And then Vince, great friend, and but he's a young player, and he'd had a terrific rookie season, and there was an impasse, and it happens. But the coach's job is to teach players on day one, you know, leave the business for the offseason.
2-2 the count on Jay.
And the good manager gets good coaches. He's not worried about his contract at all.
Give him about 10 years. Singing a different tune. Full count here on John Jay. And he draws a walk. So Garza has walked 2. MLB.TV Premium. It's the #1 live streaming sports service celebrating 12 years. And you can visit Cardinals.com for details to pick it up. How many times have we said, boy, you'd love to get that starter out and deal with the bullpen? I'm not sure you want to do that with Milwaukee. Their bullpen has been sensational this year.
2.16 ERA collectively. Only 2 National League teams have had better bullpens in the early going, and they both actually surprised me a bit. The Padres have the best bullpen right now, and the San Francisco Giants the second best, at least as far as ERA is concerned. But what you really don't want to do is give a lead to Francisco Rodriguez going into the 9th inning, or the 10th, or the 11th, or the 12th.
How good has he looked back-to-back nights? I thought game one he was not as pinpoint with his control as he was last night.
Well, he's been good more than just the last 2 nights. 13 saves, major league record going into May for most saves is 13. He tied Kazuhiro Sasaki with the Mariners in 2001, who also had 13 saves at the end of April. So it's really an historic start for a guy that couldn't get a job a year ago.
And who made history while wearing the Angels uniform. And I'd be curious to know the pace that he had that season when he set the all-time single season record. By the way, that's the Cardinals Authentic store. They have it at Ballpark Village and just outside the center field wall, just beyond it. Pat Daly and his crew, and that's up the middle and off of Garza. Jay on his way to third. And Garza walking towards home plate. That ball was slowed up just a bit, and in doing so, Jay winds up at third.
There's the hard hit ball. If that ball doesn't hit off his thigh, it's first and second Cardinals. We saw this earlier. Shelby Miller, same spot. Upper thigh, that produced an out. This time, ball gets up the middle, but you're 100% right. John Jay does not make it to third if that ball does not hit Matt Garza. First, I thought it actually hit his glove. He was trying to actually on the backside turn his glove around to try to knock it down, which is self-preservation reaction that pitchers have.
Runners at the corners for Matt Adams. Adams with 4 consecutive strikeouts. Struck out swinging back in the first. Runners at the corners for St. Louis, trailing 3-1. And Adams hits it a ton. Deep right field. Track, roll, way out of here. 3-run homer for the big man. Seen many land that far in right center. That baby was crushed.
Home runs, the early story here this afternoon. We asked for production in the middle of the Cardinals lineup, and Matt Adams just gave it to us.
And the Cardinals go back on top, and here it is.
Breaking ball gets too much of the inside half of the plate. Who said you can't hit a curveball a long way? I didn't.
Now Craig shoots it into right center. All the way to the track. It's cut off by Gomez. One out double for Craig. 4 consecutive batters have reached against Garza.
Craig likes to hit the ball the other way, but the right fielder Herrera was playing him extremely towards the right field line. I mean, that was a big gap in right center, so Gomez had to go chase that ball down. Well struck by Alan Craig.
Cardinals have had back-to-back games that have been as frustrating of losses they've had this year. The offense, what was it, 17 strikeouts last night? They've struck out twice today, but stringing together some hits and a big 3-run homer from Matt Adams. Here's Peralta, who popped out first time up, 0 for 1. Rick, 9 of the 18 home runs the Cardinals have hit have been against Milwaukee pitching. That one measured at 439 feet.
Talk about the high strikeouts that the Cardinals have had the last couple of games. That's okay if your offense is built on a lot of home runs. It may be okay, but really the Cardinals offense is built on singles, doubles, hitting with runners in scoring position. Just don't like to see those strikeouts.
John Mabry back with the club after dealing with a family issue. 1 ball and 2 strikes on the Cardinals shortstop Peralta. Popped up, but behind home plate, just below us. One and 2 the count with 1 out. Fly ball into right. Craig will tag up from second to third. No, he won't. He'll stay put. Bit surprised at that. 2 outs, and it brings in Garcia. Garcia, by the way, was telling me in the minor leagues the Cardinals had him playing during the week 2 games at short, play 2 to 3 at second, and the idea going into the season is that he would also play third. And you're talking about potentially the next utility man for the Cardinals.
That's what he's being groomed for, and anxious to see his first big league hit. How about getting an RBI along with it?
First ever major league start here today. Rounded out to short back in the second inning. And it's his bat that has brought him here. He was hitting very well in the minor leagues.
It's his bat, the 5 home runs he had there, and also the 2 impressive spring trainings that he's had the last 2 years. He has come ready to impress in Florida.
0-1 hit down the left field line and out of play. Now 0-2. Garcia part of the moves the other day that brought he along with Randall Grichuk to the big leagues. Shane Robinson and Colton Wong being sent down. Here's a 1-2. Off-speed pitch, but it goes to the backstop. Garcia hustling. He'll reach, and the Cardinals will have runners at the corners.
Must have been a cross up here, because this pitch really not far from the strike zone. I think Lucroy was thinking fastball, and they're chatting right now on the mound. Ball gets away. Garcia advances.
Now Tony Cruz, who walked back in the second inning.
Typically, you blame the pitcher for getting crossed up. There are times where the catcher puts down a sign, and I hate to call out catchers, but there are times that they forget what they put down. It goes both ways. Or it may be that the ball didn't break exactly the way he thought it would break, but clearly that's a ball that should have been handled by Lucroy.
So pass ball as Tony Cruz looks at a strike. You know, to me, Lucroy very underrated.
Great.
Batting cleanup on this team. The injuries that they've had, but he's a middle of the order type hitter and good defensively. 2 outs, runners at the corners. The Cardinals catcher is up, Tony Cruz. 1 ball, 1 strike. Ball gets in the dirt, and there is zero hesitation by the catcher. He throws it out, hands it back to the umpire for a new one.
And another $9 wasted. Isn't that what they cost? $9?
I believe so.
Something like that.
Yeah. The 1-1 pitch. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Somebody worked really hard to make that baseball, and you're going to just throw it away just like that because of a little spot on it?
Well, it's spoken like a true pitcher. You guys like to see the scuffs and the
we would never use that to our advantage.
I thought you didn't lie on the telecast, Rick. I've caught you again. Good block again by Lucroy, and it's 2-2.
Where's that baseball going? There we go.
So that ball will go to an official Major League Baseball authenticator. Many times it's retired military or police that are down there in the camera well. They'll put a sticker on it, authenticate it.
Curveball in the dirt.
And away it goes.
April 30th, 2014.
You never know. Maybe somebody got engaged before that pitch. They want that baseball. Runner goes from first. That's Garcia.
Telling me that pitch was a life-changing pitch for somebody?
Could have been, Rick. Got to look at all the angles of the story.
Wow, that's a stretch.
Stretch is different than a lot. And I've caught you.
Touche.
2-2 the count. Broken bat. Looked like it hit his foot. Definitely the broken bat. And Cruz initially didn't sell that very well, did he?
No, he didn't. He took a couple of steps out of the box and realized, ooh, I'm out. I think that did, in fact, hit his foot. You, I think, saw it right away, and just instinctually, Tony took off for first base and realized, wait a minute, that could be counterproductive.
Bags and bags of seeds, along with baseballs that are used as part of the daily routine. Major League Baseball. Here's a 2-2. Lucroy again with a good block. So 3-2. You have Shelby Miller on deck, and you wonder, will Matt Garza give Cruz a pitch to hit? We saw last night, Kyle Loesch did some damage with the bases loaded and 2 strikes, fought off a pitch, 2 runs scored, and that tied the game up. Part of the strategy, though, of National League Baseball. We'll do it again.
pitcher likes to think he can get anybody out. An intentional walk feels like you're giving in. Now, sometimes it's the right thing to do, and I don't think it's the right situation here to do it, but if you're Matt Garza and you believe you're one of the best pitchers on the planet, you got to believe you're going to get an 8th place hitter out. Pitch count for Garza. Very long 3rd inning.
Garcia off with a pitch from first, the 3-2, and we'll do it again. Almost got the cotton candy vendor down the right field line.
In my mind right here, you walk the batter if it's Babe Ruth or Barry Bonds in his prime, and that's it. Everybody else you pitched to.
Stan the man? Willie Mays?
Carefully.
Carefully. But you're still pitching to him.
As far as they know.
Yeah, that's the way to approach it. Here's a 3-2. Good at bat here by Tony Cruz. I've thought early on, watching him this first month, he's had better at bats to start this year than maybe at points and times that we saw last year.
I think his timing's really good.
Yeah.
Out of the chute here. He was late a lot last year, and I think timing always an issue for a guy that doesn't play a lot. He has a bit of a long swing. And a guy with a long swing can get jammed easily. But a good at bat here.
This will be pitch number 12. And even if he doesn't reach the residual effect of a 12 pitch at bat, or 13, 14, pitch count on the way up here for Matt Garza. He saw 7 pitches in his first at bat.
A lot of room in the middle of the infield too for Cruz if he drives it up the middle.
Popped up to the right side, and that'll find the seats. Three for 5 against Garza. What an at bat by Tony Cruz. Bases loaded for Shelby Miller. So 13 pitches, that at bat, a total of 20 to Tony Cruz today.
Good time for a pitching coach visit here. That's Rick Kranitz. He's the pitching coach for the Brewers. Lee Tunnell, former Cardinal, is their bullpen coach. But part of the reason you go out here as a pitching coach is we saw the pitch count. It's up to close to 35 now. You got to get a breather. I mean, it's not just what you're doing and how you're doing it. I mean, at some point you just have to just do something different, relax, get back up on the mound and go back to work again. And it's hard to make yourself do that when you're competing. You just feel like the pace has to keep going and going and going and going. And sometimes you need your coach to slow you down.
So 2 outs, bases loaded for Shelby Miller. Struck out swinging first time up. Garza has struck out 3. He's walked 3 total, 2 in this inning, and also gave up the 3-run homer to Matt Adams. Oh, 2. Good point you make, though. You have a situation where Garza is an emotional guy, as we've seen previous start against the Cardinals. We saw that on display after a home run. He's given up a home run this inning. He has a long 13 pitch at bat with the 8th place hitter, so perfect time to make that visit.
You can actually get winded as a pitcher, and you have to kind of regulate that breathing a little bit. Pitching motion requires real focus and for you to be able to do kind of a fine motor skill job, and if you're winded, this makes it harder to do.
Here's an 0-2. Good cut by Miller. By the way, it's Rule 10.19b. Pitcher cannot be credited with a save if he is the winning pitcher.
I knew you'd have the answer for me before the telecast was over. Just didn't think you'd go to Twitter so quickly.
Had to. You think I'm going to come up with that? Give me a break.
Calling you out.
As you should. 4 strikeouts for Garza, but a long home run. Matt Adams, a 3-run shot into right center. One swing. Birds back on top. It's 4-3 on Fox Sports Midwest. Team mobilizing your world. By Schnucks, your neighborhood hometown grocer for 75 years. And find a helpful servicing steel dealer near you. Visit steeldealers.com. 4th inning rolls in. Cardinals lead at 4-3. Matt Garza is at 76 pitches through 3. Shelby Miller is at 40. First pitch, fly ball, left field, off the bat of Overbay, and on the track making the play, Matt Holliday, in front of the Hall of Famers.
Ball is carrying so differently now than it was a month or so ago.
Sure is.
That ball went a long way to left. Overbay has decent power, but backed Matt Holliday up to the track there. Really interesting watching Shelby Miller pitch here this afternoon. We talked about his control issues. 18 walks in his first 5 starts. So as a pitcher, you say, I'm going to stop doing that and I'm going to start throwing strikes. Well, then they hit a couple of home runs and you think, I wonder if that was a very good idea. I mean, you certainly do want to throw strikes, but you can almost be too good with your control in the middle of the plate. A couple of balls he's hung today and at center cut. It's really what makes pitching difficult.
Chris Davis, 1 ball, 1 strike. Overbay was left standing at the plate to end the 3rd when they had 2 runners on. And a caught stealing of Jeanette could have been a bigger inning.
You mentioned it would have been another run because Herrera, the runner at 3rd, would have scored.
Off of Carpenter, tough play and into left. Davis stops at first. And a 1-out base hit. Carpenter's told us about the speed of the game down at third, and tough chance.
It's reaction. You very seldom have a chance to move your feet. Now he did on that play, got in front of it.
It's E5 on the play and his 5th error this year. Last road trip is when he had some issues defensively, especially in one game in Washington.
He had a rough day at the plate that day too.
Right.
I believe he struck out 3 times, which is unusual for Matt Carpenter on both accounts, to make errors and to strike out. But this year he struck out a little more than usual. You know what? I think we'll keep him though.
Oh yeah. We'll get used to seeing him. He's locked up long term. Reynolds with a 2-run homer. There's just certain players you watch in baseball and you marvel at just raw power, and Mark Reynolds is one of those players. If he squares it up, it will jump off his bat. Pitch that's taken low. The way that both starters are going, Rick, we're going to see the bullpens on both sides, and it's been bullpens that have been well used here in the first 2 games. So you wonder about the availability on both sides of who's ready to go today.
Extra innings does that to you.
Three balls and a strike.
Not only their availability, but their availability for how long.
It's pulled foul down the left field line,
which is often just as much of a problem. You can say, okay, he's available to pitch today, and then that's usually followed parenthetically to a batter or 2. And if you have a starter that only goes 5 innings or 5+ innings, and you've got 2 or 3 guys that are just in there for a batter or 2, somebody's got to pitch the remaining 3 innings.
Here's a 3-2 pitch. In the air, right side. And that'll find the seats. Business person special on a chilly afternoon here in St. Louis. We're at Busch Stadium. And along with Rick Horton, I'm Dan McLaughlin. Jim Hayes is with us.
By the way, Dan, I got a tweet from a fan named Sean who said that he and his wife got engaged at the ballpark, and they bought a used baseball from that game, and it's very meaningful to him. So, as usual, you're right.
You feel a little down right now, don't you?
Painful to say.
Here's a 3-2. You know, people hear us because I gave you so much trouble. They're going to say, you know, you guys, what's the deal? You don't get along? Quite the contrary, okay? This is our way of getting along. This is how we're old married couple.
What they don't understand is that I beat on you during the breaks.
Gets brutal. Now, if they saw us play golf, that's when it gets real nasty. This is just the nice version. Here's a 3-2 pitch to Reynolds.
Boy, he's got a power cut, doesn't he?
Sure does.
He just doesn't get cheated.
I think Tony Cruz saw what you just saw with that last swing. 8 pitches this at bat, and Cruz out to visit. Cardinals a much needed, I think you would agree for once, off day tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
And then it's off to Wrigley Field. Friday it's Wainwright and Travis Wood. Saturday it's Walker, Jake Arrieta. And then on Sunday, that's Sunday Night Baseball, Lance Lynn and Jason Hamill is off to a great start, by the way, for the Cubs.
I just think there's something about when you turn over a month, Dan, that you kind of get to look at the big picture just for a minute. I know players like to look at the day and the moment and the pitch, and they don't like to look too big picture. But at some point, if you win here today against the Brewers, avoid the sweep, finish the month 15 and 14, you can at least say, hey, a lot of things haven't worked, but we still finished over 500. Things aren't as bad as we might think they are.
I think we've gotten accustomed, clearly, to such tremendous winning baseball that when the Cardinals have a 500 month, we're taken back a bit. We've been spoiled. I do believe that. And the other thing I think that plays a part of this, and again, you're going to play 81 and 81, but all the road games coming out of spring training has been difficult, and you have to go back to the 20s to find a schedule that has seen the Cardinals on the road for 38 games, the first 38, as much as they are going to be to start this year. Not an excuse, but definitely something that they have to deal with. And here's Jeff Bianchi.
And you can look at some of their really good seasons, and when they were off to 18, 19, 20 win starts in April, they had a lot of 500 months, 15 and 15 months along the way. But when it happens in April, it just, I guess it's a little more noticeable.
There's a fly ball lifted to right. Backing up, Craig makes the catch, and the runners stay put. Nobody wants to run on the right fielders today.
I guess not.
We understand that young man is Christian, and he's 4 years old today. So happy birthday to Christian. Somebody pressed the on button, and he just keeps going. I think he likes the Cardinals.
I like it.
Cute little guy. Great to have him here at the ballpark. 2 outs, 2 on, and a broken bat. Slowly hit to the right side. Gloved by Adams, and Miller steps on the bag. Christian, keep it going, my man.
Go Cardinals. Go Cardinals. Go Cardinals.
And Marion, how about Jimmy ball game? Over 1,100 games with St. Louis. Came over from the Angels, world champion in 06. Such a popular player, 3-time All-Star, 6-time Gold Glove winner. Very close, if you look at his numbers, Rick, to looking at Cooperstown.
Well, I think the surprising thing about Jim Edmonds, when you think about his career, is you always think about his defense and the great plays and the wow moments, but he was a tremendous offensive player too. And I guess that Cardinal fans know that, but I think we think defense first, but really big numbers as well from Jimmy.
Never forget his Game 6, 2004 NLCS home run against Houston to keep the Cardinals alive, and they eventually won that series. And went to the World Series, lost and swept by Boston in 2004. And some big hits along the way in 2006. Remember, he started awarding the game balls in 2006 in that postseason run. And the first one was Rafael Belliard, the second baseman of the Cardinals at that time, who made a game-saving play, Game 1 against San Diego. And Jimmy thought it'd be a good idea. Let's start awarding the game ball, like in football, and became a tradition for that postseason.
My favorite awarding of a baseball happened in Colorado when Troy Gloss gave the baseball to Rick Ankiel for a throw he made from center field. I don't think that's ever been done before. It may never be done again, but I don't think anybody's ever going to throw a baseball like that again.
It was, we were doing the game that night. As we're back to the top of the lineup, it was Omar Quintanilla both times. I've never seen anything like it. And with that spacious outfield that they have in Denver, on a fly, and there's so many aspects of that play that stand out to me. One, the throw itself on a fly. Two, how Troy Gloss deked the runner, acted like the throw wasn't coming in. And three, in the background of that shot, the reaction of his teammates, and in particular Chris Duncan, was going crazy. And he did it not just once, but twice. And Rick Ankiel will be part of the fantasy camp here in St. Louis coming up.
And so will Jim Edmonds. So you can ask them both about awarding baseball.
That's great.
Great crowd for that. Hall of Famers, Herzog, Ozzie, Bruce Sutter will be there. How about Willie McGee?
He's coming back for it too? Oh, that's great. Is that sold out yet? Pretty close.
It's very close.
Fantasy camp at Cardinals.com to find out more. Fantasy camp at Cardinals.com. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Matt Carpenter twice is flied out to left. And you are to be commended for the work that you do putting that together. And Scott Terry, the staff here with the Cardinals, Joe Pfeiffer leads the way. And it is a well-oiled machine. Those folks have the time of their lives.
Well, you've seen it. You know Scott Terry does all the work, and I just do the emceeing, and I do what he tells me.
And a foul ball.
But it is really fun to kind of steer that ship in the midst of the fan experience, the experience within the players who get to be together. In some cases for the first time in a long time, or maybe just once a year. And brings back a lot of memories, a lot of stories, which of course is what's a big part of baseball, is the stories and the connections.
2-2, just missed. You get that feeling of being a big leaguer.
Don't think I wasn't happy when I was taking my at-bats and playing right field and doing all that in Jupiter this offseason. That pitch just missed the outside corner.
And a walk to Carpenter. So 4 walks issued by Garza and at Busch Stadium. That's his ERA since 2008. Burnett, Derek Lowe, Garza, Ian Kennedy, and Ian Snell. And now Garza being looked at by the medical team of the Brewers. No question, it has been a grind for him here today.
Appear to be looking at his hand. You wonder about blisters. Ron Renicky looking on. Umpire's job is to be in this conversation and make sure there's no baseball-related conversation going on, other than the health of the player.
That's why you'll see it motion that it's not an official visit, even though Ron Renicky and his staff come out there. And they've got the lefty Wong, who is used sparingly
way he was kind of moving his fingers, the two things you think about are blisters, number one, but also kind of the way you can sprain a finger. Adam Wainwright did that one year and had to miss some time. And it can be actually kind of a painful. I had it once. It can be painful. It affects your grip on the baseball and the way you can make the ball move left and right because of the finger pressure. And I'm not saying that's what he has, but you just wonder whether there might be a sprain issue going on with Matt Garcia.
And it looks like Garza's day is through, so we'll step aside. Yep, that's it for him. The lefty Wong will come into the ball game when we come back. Those highlights from Rick Ankiel. Remember, he came back up as a center fielder. As you get a look at Wing-Ching Wong, the Chevy called to the pen. The high ERA. He's only made 3 appearances. Rule 5 pickup. And jumped from A-ball to the big leagues. But here it is. I mean, this is unbelievable, these throws.
Actually gets himself in good position, and it's a strike right on the bag. There's Troy Gloss.
Now, this one might be my favorite.
And this is a ball he has to pick off the center field wall, then turn around and throw. A little deke by Gloss. Right on the bag. There's Duncan going crazy. And does he get awarded the ball? He sure does for Troy Gloss.
Boom.
You know what I like about that, too, watching Rick Ankiel, is you just realize how much he kind of suffered through the pitching experience and how it may have soured him about the game of baseball. I think he made a very wise decision to say, I'm going to try to reinvent myself as an outfielder, and you just see the joy of playing on his face right there, and that's just a nice memory.
Here is Wong, and the pitches by relievers, 193 for the Brewers, 154 for the Cardinals.
So you're talking about thin bullpens. Their problem just got a little worse with Garza coming out here in the 4th inning. That's at least 2 innings you weren't planning on if you were the Milwaukee Brewers. But Wong, at the age of 22, hasn't, as you mentioned, worked a lot. He is from Taiwan. Cardinals saw him in Milwaukee.
Rick, I talked, by the way, to Rick Ankiel. We'll talk about Wong here in a second. But in spring training, I said, why not give it one more shot, go on the mound? And he said, everybody wants me to do it. Former teammates, coaches, managers have come out of the woodwork to ask me to give it one more shot. And he said, I've made a lot of money. I've got a couple of young boys. He loves to fish. He's got a boat, goes fishing. He's a Florida guy. So he's always doing that. As you get a look at John Jay with a runner at first, that's Carpenter after the walk. And he said, I just don't know if I want to put myself through that mentally. It was so hard on him. And my understanding is it may happen, may come to fruition, but there's a book that may potentially be coming out, his story and what he went through. And really one of the most fascinating figures in recent baseball history is Rick Ankiel. A trap, and on to second goes Carpenter. I want to add, one of the people you pulled for.
Oh, yeah.
Because behind the scenes with us and getting a chance to know him and know what he went through, you wanted him to have all the success in the world.
A lot of things done right on that play. John Jay, a hit off a left-hander. Gomez keeps the ball in front of him and tries to get Carpenter, who had to read that perfectly. The timing of how far could he stray off of first base. If Gomez would have caught that ball, he needs to get back. If he doesn't, he needs to get the second in a hurry. Tough to know that exact spot to run to for a base run.
Runners at first and second. Holiday is 2 for 2. Both singles, an RBI, a run scored. Average up to 288. Up the middle. Wong goes to third. No one's there. To second. And Jay is out. And they may have a review of this one. Right away, Mike Eldreddy, the bench coach, running to the phone. And just from the naked eye, I thought he was safe. Mike Matheny, the long walk, and as he does, the custom now is to turn around and get the thumbs up or thumbs down from the bench.
Well, Wong makes a mistake. He needs to turn around and go to second first, right away. But as he spins, he thinks about third, which, nope, that's the wrong choice. Let me go to second. There's the close play. Called out, but really a mistake by Wong. He should have had a double play to begin with. And it looks like he may have been out on that replay. Although in my mind, I think at some point managers have to not worry so much, Dan, about their percentage in terms of getting them right or wrong. If it's at all close, why not try it? Well, what do you have to lose? Mike Eldreddy? Nope.
Runners at the corners, one out for Adams.
I guess all you have to lose is the time to go through the review. But if it happens before the 6th inning, I mean, you can request it afterwards from the umpire. You can't demand it. But on a close play, they're probably going to say yes. Wouldn't you think?
Absolutely.
Close play, you go out there and say, hey, I think that's an important play in this game. I think, would you take a look at it? And the umpires, I just don't think they're going to say no.
Adams' home run was measured at 442 feet. That was back in the third. And Rick, that's the longest home run by a Cardinals hitter at Busch Stadium since David Freese. He hit one 451 feet back in 2012. It was May 24th of 2012. Not gotten word as to why Garza has left. Our guess is blister.
I'm going to go with finger sprain.
And there it is, this wonderful bullpen of the first month of the season. Back at it for the Brewers here this afternoon. So Rule 5 acquisition, Wong in from the bullpen. It happened a couple of years ago when Matt Garza was with the Cubs that he had to leave a game early because of an injury here at this ballpark. Adams pops it up, and the catch is made by Lucroy. So a missed opportunity for St. Louis with just one out, now two, and it's up to Allen Craig. Right now Wong has got to give them innings. Craig 1 for 2 with a double back in the third. And I would think even if things would go south with Wong this afternoon, and if he gets knocked around, he's going to be out there for a while, one way or another.
Kind of tough to do that to a young pitcher who's had no experience before this year above A ball. Rule 5 pick. They took a chance on him. They like what he does, so they kind of bring him and elevate him to the big league level just to kind of get his feet wet and think maybe there's a guy that can help him in the future.
How short is this roster, though, right now? When you have Wong, and again, we're a month into the season, they've used him, including today, a total of 4 times. So it's like having you got him out there, but you're not using him when the game's on the line for the most part. And they're dealing with injuries with Ramirez, Segura, Braun. So it's a short roster for Ron Renneke. 1 ball, 1 strike. If you're wondering, Wong was with Pittsburgh.
But if you haven't used him much, how stretched out can he be? How many innings possibly can you expect from Wong? 2 1/3. I would say you'd be thrilled with that if you're Ron Renneke.
In the air, right center. Gomez on the move. Can he get there? No. One hops off the wall. 1 run is in. Here comes Holiday. Craig delivers with a double that scores 2.
Alan Craig's second double of the afternoon, and that is his power spot, right center field. Gomez plays it well, gets it in quickly. But Matt Holliday able to score from first base on the 2-run double by Alan Craig.
So Craig now with 10 driven in this year. 2 for 3 on the afternoon. Here's Peralta. Takes a pitch outside. Peralta today has popped out to third. Fly to right. 0 for 2. The 1-0. Matt Garcia is the first Milwaukee starter that hasn't pitched at least 5 innings. So they've got mileage from that rotation, but the bullpen has been arguably the best in the game. 83 pitches today. He leaves with an injury. That closes the book on Garza. And it's 3 balls and no strikes. By the way, the Brewers bullpen released their second installment of Wee Chung Wong Wednesday. Yes, I'm serious. Don't look at me like that. It's a video series with a tribute to Wang Chung's Across the Nation. And apparently they taped this under the arch. Yes, I'm being serious. Apparently Jim Henderson is trying to come up with a possible video and theme for every week for Wong Wednesday.
Baseball players and marketing don't always mix.
We're at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. Day baseball on Fox Sports Midwest. Download the new McD app for great deals sent directly to your smartphone right now. Get a free large sandwich with any purchase just for downloading. Carlos Gomez homered back in the third. His 7th of the season, 2nd in this series. He has swung at the first pitch in 12 of his 13 at-bats in this series. Why put anything close in that first pitch? There you go. Trying to chase. Leads Major League Baseball. He swung at the first pitch 56% of the time.
Matt Holliday also swings at the first pitch a lot. You just don't expect that out of a leadoff hitter.
So, being a former pitcher like yourself and you know those numbers, why put anything near the plate?
Or why necessarily throw? You don't want to throw a get me over fastball to him. I think that's the real key. You may throw something to the plate, but don't be afraid to throw a changeup on the first pitch. I know that sounds odd. There's a philosophy, Dan, that you don't throw a changeup until you know what you're changing up from. So the changeup follows the fastball. So you throw a fastball, then you're changing up from that. And so they would say first pitch changeups don't make a lot of sense. But if a guy's going to be aggressive and overswing, changeups can still produce the desired result. You get a ground ball with it, you get a pop up. This guy's out front. And in my mind, it's okay to do that.
3-1 pitch in the air. Center. John Jay. One away. Friday, May 16th, 25,000 fans ages 16 and older take home a 6.5-inch tall replica of the 2013 National League Championship Trophy. It's presented by Ameren, Missouri, and that's May 16th when the Cardinals take on the Braves. Get your tickets at cardinals.com/promotions. Brewers have pitched so well, so has Atlanta, and the Braves are 17-8 at the start of play today.
Did not see that coming.
No. With their injuries, 3/5 of their starting rotation out.
Yeah, they were in Panicsville for a while in spring training, weren't they? They when they signed Santana, they lost the draft pick by signing him when they did, but they felt like, well, you know what, we need somebody. And now they got a problem of the injured starters coming back. Who's going to sit? And they don't really want to sit anybody. So now they have too many pitchers.
Aaron Harang. It's been lights out. 1 ball, 1 strike on Herrera, switch hitter, who's 1 for 2 with a single today.
What a difference a year can make.
You bet. Herrera drops down the bunt. Carpenter, barehanded play to first. The stretch by Adams. They got him. Do or die play for Carpenter, and he comes up with it.
Such a tough play to do well. You've got to get the right angle. You have to barehand it, and you have to throw it right away. Off balance. And the throw better be on line. Everything done perfectly by Matt Carpenter. Speaking of what a difference a year can make, did you notice who's leading the American League in saves? The hint would be he's played for both of these clubs here playing today at Busch Stadium.
Mr. Axford. Pitch sharply into right. John Axford.
Correct again, Dan. You are, man, you're smart.
Well, my initial guess was Raleigh Fingers. Then I started thinking about the time frame of it. FoxSportsMidwest.com. It's your home for Cardinals coverage all season long. You'll find news and video plus analysis from Stan McNeil. All on FoxSportsMidwest.com.
Glad you started thinking.
See, now you've gone overboard. Okay. Hey, people forget that Raleigh Fingers was property of the Cardinals
for a day.
Briefly, yes, 24 hours, I think. Then flipped again. Cardinals had the Hall of Famer engine number 42, Bruce Sutter. It's chilly here in St. Louis. You know it's going to be cold this weekend in Chicago. And you never know about those crazy games at Wrigley. Mike was talking about that before the ball game today. Mike Matheny. He said you try to stress to the young players, and it's 2-0 on Lucroy, that when you get a lead, nothing is ever safe. Don't ever take anything for granted what happens at Wrigley Field.
I think you have to see that happen once before you believe it. And it really doesn't make any difference in my mind who you're playing, whether if it's the Cubs against somebody else that's not a good team, or the Cubs are down. That it doesn't really matter. It's just a ballpark where crazy things happen.
Mike was asked about the 100th anniversary of Wrigley Field and just your thoughts going back to Wrigley, and he mentioned some of the crazy games he was a part of as a player. Here's a 2-0 pitch to Lucroy. When I think of Mike Matheny, there is an image that I'll never forget at Wrigley Field, and it's his hand touching the jersey of Darryl Kyle. And there's a photo of that was seen all across the country. Head down, right hand, I believe it was on the jersey of Kyle after he had passed away, which was in Chicago. A 2-1 pitch to Lucroy. 3-1. Cardinals are trying to get Shelby Miller through 5 innings. Pitch count is at 70, but it seems like it's really been a grind for him just to get to this point.
He hasn't had one game where he's thrown over 100 pitches this year, which when I saw that, I was surprised to see it. You think of him as a durable guy that really can throw all day, and he's just had the problems with the walks and losing his command, which has led to him getting taken out of ball games.
Out to center, and Jay is there to make the play. Milwaukee has stranded 4. Birds on top midway through 5. Exclusive Cardinals Kids Club presented by Rawlings Sporting Goods. Receive great gifts like a Matt Carpenter bobblehead. He is spearheading the Cardinals Kids Club this season. Private party with Matt at the end of the year with autographs. That's at cardinals.com/kids. Injury on Garza is a right thumb contusion. So second inning of work for the lefty Wong. And he will get Garcia, Cruz, and Shelby Miller. Ballpark Village, and inside there is the Cardinals Hall of Fame. I asked Cardinals president Bill DeWitt, I said, give me the best piece of memorabilia that's inside the Hall of Fame.
Did you say, give it to me? And what did he say to that? Did he ask you to clarify what you meant?
Yes.
Okay.
But I think we both knew what I meant.
Okay.
That there's no chance I'm walking away with that.
No, obviously.
Garcia is 0 for 2. And that's a base hit. Garcia's first hit in the major leagues, and it'll be a double. He's on his way to second base. Congratulations, Greg Garcia.
That baseball will be very, very important to Greg Garcia. And there is the classic, take a different baseball, throw it up in the stands, make the guy worry about it. But the real baseball will be under lock and key.
There's the authenticator.
And he will not have to buy that at the Cardinal store.
No, he gets that one. And now it's Cruz following the double. You work all your life. Young boy, you love this game. You have a chance to go to college with it. Went to the University of Hawaii. Drafted, and now Garcia in the big leagues. What a moment for him and his family. And I understand both his mom and dad are here.
That's great. That is so great.
It's bounced in the dirt to Tony Cruz, who has walked a couple of times. And Jim, tell us a little bit more about Greg Garcia.
Well, I went in search of his family. I think they upgraded their seats because they weren't where the Cardinals believed they were sitting. But I want to tell you about Grichuk's ball. He got his first base hit last night, and Daniel Descalso did the same thing with the faux throwing decoy ball into the stands, except Grichuk told me he never even knew that Descalso had done that. But I am told that the training staff has the baseball and they're making it display ready, and Grichuk will get that ball, as will Garcia get his.
Is that how it's done more times than not, Ricky? It's the training staff that put the writing on the baseball to capture the moment.
It's been really a baseball historical fact that's somehow it's gotten into the job description of the trainer to do that. And Bob Bowman wrote on the baseballs from 1984 for me, and Gene Gieselman did that as well. And I think what you're trying to do is just really kind of make sure that moment is not lost for the player, and you really want and understand that, you know, there's some fooling around that goes around with it, but you understand just what that means to that player and his family.
One out runner at third. Shelby Miller with the infield in.
And when somebody gets their first big league hit, I always think about the high school coach, the college coach, the next door neighbor, the elementary school friend that are just going crazy right now because of what Garcia just did.
Here's the 0-1. Garcia is the runner at third. He was telling me that his grandpa, Dave, who has a history of pro ball years and years, was from just across the river, now living in San Diego, but was a coach for a long time with the Colorado Rockies. There's a fly ball out to right, and it gets past the right fielder. That's Herrera. Shelby Miller with an RBI double. Garcia scoring the run. Welcome to the big leagues. And I'm sure Grandpa is smiling ear to ear right now. What a moment for him.
Nice moment for Shelby Miller, too. Hits this ball hard the other way. Herrera ran circles around that ball and was playing shallow because it was a pitcher, and almost seemed surprised when that ball came upon him and just didn't get a good jump at him. Would have been an RBI either way, but Miller gets more.
Strike on the outside corner. Matt Carpenter walked and scored in the fourth. Twice he has flied out to left. get that first hit, you relax a little bit more too. Making his first start here today.
So when you got your first hit at the fantasy camp, did we throw out that baseball and authenticate it? Is it on the McLaughlin mantle right now?
Oh no, you can actually go out to the team store. There's some really quality items from fantasy camp, including that baseball. But really amazing how you guys brought in the authenticator for fantasy camp. Amazing. Now, one item I was telling you about before, the best item, according to, or at least his favorite, Bill DeWitt, the architect of Ballpark Village and Hall of Fame and Museum, a Branch Rickey Cardinals jersey. Branch Rickey at one point was the GM and the manager. And the history behind that is the birds on the bat designed by Rickey, or at least the idea, at a function, looking at the centerpiece and said, I like that. We're the Cardinals and I like that traditional look, so hence you have the birds on the bat. They have that jersey from Branch Rickey. On a hop, hit to short, and Carpenter is out. Nice play by the Yankee, and that holds Miller at second base. Take a look at our What's on Tap. We head to Chicago, the off day tomorrow. Come your way Friday afternoon at 12:30 right here on Fox Sports Midwest. Wainwright and Wood and our Budweiser What's on Tap. There are some amazing pieces that the players have given back. The usual family has given on loan some of the memorabilia that had built up over the years, and Brock and Gibson as well. Get the time, take it in. That's driven sharply to second. Jeanette couldn't come up with it. Jay on his way to second base. A run will score, and he's in there safely. On base for the fourth time, John Jay.
Carpenter hit his ball hard, but John Jay hit it even harder. And you can see Jeanette trying to keep the ball in the infield on the backhand. And that has scored a double for John Jay as he crushed that baseball. And was thinking two right out of the box. Give him credit.
Jay with 3 runs scored, on base 4 times, 3 hits and RBI. It's a very productive afternoon for the Cardinals center fielder. And here is Holiday. Holiday with a pair of singles and an RBI.
Is feeling like this afternoon the Cardinal offense that we expected?
No doubt. You mentioned it, the middle of this lineup providing some type of production, and that has happened here today. What I like is that you have Alan Craig with 2 doubles, a pair of RBIs, and he can look up for the first time this year and realize he's hitting at least 200. Average is up to an even 200. Two balls and no strikes. Started to stretch again out in the Milwaukee bullpen. As Wong is delivering his 33rd pitch, and they'll pitch around Holiday here. The intentional walk to get to the lefty-lefty matchup with Matt Adams.
I do have an official clarification, and this comes from Tom Pagnazzi, who's watching us this afternoon, and he said that he knows beyond a shadow of a doubt that you actually never did get a hit in fantasy camp, so there is no such baseball, and you're still sitting on an over, according to Mr. Pagnazzi.
Well, he's a stickler on the details, and he just happens to be right, but that's neither here nor there. Well, I took some vicious cuts. Alan Bennis was the right-hander that we faced, and he was trying to find the barrel of my bat, and I still made outs. But I was hustling all the way.
As I recall it, Dan, you popped up, carried your bat with you, and took a right turn, and had somebody from the dugout yell at you for not running the ball out. Somebody that I know pretty well.
Might be you. And my response to you was, you told me this was going to be a true experience of feeling like a major leaguer, so I figured I was just doing what I felt was the true experience.
That's terrible.
Here's a 1-1. What was terrible was making it out on a ball that was coming in at about 70 miles an hour, belt high.
Hey, Alan Bennis has got a lot of people out. Don't you have nothing to feel ashamed about?
You should have seen the movement on those pitches too. I'm not ashamed, Rick. The 2-1. Now the pitchers in the fantasy camp, they do hit. That means Rick Horton hits. And I'm reminded at least every other day that Rick was a healthy 7 for 7.
Mostly line drives.
In the book. Or were they truly line drives?
One of them.
But 7 for 7. Adams pops it up. Shallow center.
We work on that batting average on the break.
Maybe I can substitute an autograph or something. That might make it worse. Thanks a lot, Pags. Garcia. Day he'll never forget. What are you doing down? What? And we remind you, you can fill up at Phillips 66 with 8 gallons or more now until September 19th. Receive up to 50% off on a pair of tickets to a Cardinals home game. For more information, visit cardinals.com/Phillips66. Now, in all seriousness, it's you and the former players that make that such a special experience. The fantasy camp, 8-3 Cardinals as Miller starts Overbay off with a ball outside. Unfortunately, you guys also have long memories.
We do. I've been hearing from my former teammates here throughout this game. We got a text from Joe McGrain, and Dave LaPointe just tweeted corroboration that you didn't get any hits in the fantasy camp.
I've been outed.
And you know, honestly, the cool thing about that is not only the connection that the players have down there with the campers, but also the fact that, you know, there's 3 former Cardinals right there, and I know there's more that are actually watching Cardinal baseball here today from all around the country.
That's it out of play.
A great statement, once a Cardinal, always a Cardinal.
One ball and 2 strikes. Eight to 3 St. Louis as we play in game number 3 of this series. And a foul ball. Overbay, Davis, and Reynolds. That pitch at 94 from Shelby Miller. Pitch count only at 75. So Overbay gets a chance to make sure he's all right with that foul ball off his foot.
Miller has given up 6 hits here this afternoon, but really I think since pitch 1 he's had good stuff today. The ball's really jumping out of his hand. His breaking pitch has been a bit erratic. Haven't really thrown a whole lot of them. There's one.
And a fly ball. Carries over to the left fielder Holiday. One away.
That's one of the things you think about with Shelby Miller. The first time you ever watch him throw, if you've never seen him, especially up close, is how the ball just jumps out of his hand. Cardinal bullpen doing their pre-stretch routine.
There are guys that do have that extra kick, the giddy up, and that could get away with pitching up in the zone. And at times Shelby Miller's been able to do that. Today only 1 strikeout. He has walked 1. He's given up a pair of home runs. But the Cardinals, the offense has come through today, and they lead it 8-3 behind 10-hit attack.
I think, Dan, that's a good lesson for a pitcher to learn, that you can win a game without a lot of strikeouts, and I think Shelby knows that. But when you're not getting the strikeouts, you're not throwing as many pitches sometimes as well. Somebody catch it.
That's Jay calling off the middle infield of the Cardinals. 2 down. Mentioned it earlier just how well Shelby Miller has pitched at home since he arrived on the scene a couple of seasons ago late. And there's Jay calling off Garcia and Peralta. Then last year, eye-popping numbers here at Busch Stadium. Rarely a poor outing at this ballpark. We saw earlier in the season too, Rick, he was throwing more breaking balls, and then it just seemed like, not that they scrapped it, but the approach was, let's stick with a strength, which has been that fastball.
Almost get the feeling that they were forcing the secondary pitches, at least in Shelby Miller's mind. He may be a little reluctantly throwing pitches in counts he normally wouldn't throw it. Yeah, you got to throw it, you've got to develop it, but when he had a couple of bad outings in a row, I think he just came out in that following game and just said, here's the fastball, hit it. And they didn't.
Off-speed pitch, popped up, and out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. So the previous pitch, home plate umpire wasn't ready.
Surprised Shelby saw that.
Good point. I'm not sure I've ever seen it where the home plate umpire is not ready while the players are. That's Dan Bellino. Here's a 2-1 pitch. Taken low, 3-1. Rick, how would you describe the mechanics of Shelby Miller?
I'd say they're very simple. They're very kind of standard even. And again, the difference maker for him is just the velocity that he has and the great arm speed that he's able to generate. And he's very much a lower half guy too. Drives to the plate. He's much more of a driver than he is a tall and fall pitcher. You think about Nolan Ryan as a guy like that. The legs become very important to a pitcher who's a power guy like Shelby Miller. And as Derek Lilliquist told us, there are times where he gets a little bit too leggy, and that's what you have to be careful about, where he's driving too hard and the arm drags as it did there.
So 2-out walk by Miller to Reynolds. The AT fan photo. Encourage you to send us your photos. Quite the revealing shot. Ground ball left side, Carpenter. The easy way to second. We're midway through 6 at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. And the Cardinals lead it by the score of 8-3. Eight to 3. What is on Rick Horton's radar right now?
It's a little early, but about a month or so from now, we're going to have the Major League Baseball draft. And I guess it's early in one sense, but it certainly isn't for Dan Kantrovich and his staff. They are working very hard to make sure when the Cardinals pick at number 31 that they pick the right guy. And I think the draft is becoming more and more important to Major League clubs. They're expecting productivity from their number 1 and number 2 choices within a couple of years. And I think we're getting to the point where the baseball draft is becoming maybe not exactly like the football draft, but I think more so, with the expectation is of we're not going to hear from that guy for 4 years or 5 years. He's going to get developed. I think that's long gone. I think the way colleges have helped develop players is basically becoming an extra minor league system for teams to develop young players, and I think the draft is becoming very, very critical. You can't miss.
With the way that baseball has it set up, you know, with football, you're going to go to college. No jumping from high school. You have the age requirement in the NBA. That's pulled foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. But baseball, you know, for so many years now, you go to college. If you do, that's a commitment of your 3 years, and then you're drafting again. Potentially, if you're drafted in high school, you don't sign. You go to college, and then 3 years later, back on the board, allowing kids to develop. And where the Cardinals have had great success, and clearly Michael Wacha is case in point of a top draft choice that gets to the major leagues, but it's guys like Alan Craig, Matt Adams, Rosenthal, those middle rounds where the Cardinals have found those diamonds in the rough. And it's a philosophy of trying to find, this is a blanket general statement, but trying to find at times the best athlete. And maybe it's not necessarily the guy that has the best numbers in college, but he projects to what the Cardinals are looking for.
Really interesting to talk to Keith Hernandez in New York. We had a chance to visit with him down a couple of different times, and he, as everybody knows, was a very, very late pick. I believe it was 48th round or 50th, with late pick either way. But the point is, he said the reason that happened is at the time he was wanting to go to Stanford to play baseball, but he quit his senior year of high school baseball because he had a fight with his coach. And he came home and told his dad, I can't play for that man. And I don't know the details of that and don't care. One more look at the last pitch. Just off the plate. But Keith's dad said, well, you want to quit? You quit. And he did. So everybody just forgot about Keith Hernandez except the Cardinal scout that said, I don't know about that issue either, but this guy could play baseball, and they took a chance on him, and in a surprising way were able to sign him.
This is launched left center at the track, at the wall, over the wall. Solo home run, Alan Craig, in a 3-hit day. And now they're saying it's been waved off. The fireworks are going off. I think for sure it's a home run. The second base umpire's Toby Basner. He gave the safe sign and not ringing it around. And here comes Mike Matheny.
That ball was way out of here and hit off the railing, and I think most people saw that. Now, in my mind, Mike's not challenging this. He's just asking them, would you please review this, which they will, and they'll get it right, and it'll be a home run, and the boos will stop. One more look. Gomez. There's the wall. And like it may have short hopped that railing, hit on the concrete. Clearly a home run, and it won't take them long to find that out. And then we'll all cheer again.
Do we set off fireworks again?
I think we're done with that.
So a 3-hit day for Alan Craig. 3 RBIs, 2 doubles, now the solo home run. And a 9-3 Cardinals lead. Johnny Peralta is 0 for 2. Shift on here for Peralta. More and more being incorporated even against right-handed batters, not just the lefties. Congratulations to Jack Donovan, his wife Louise. They are proud grandparents again, as Jack the Fourth was born this weekend to Jack and Michelle Donovan. So
outstanding.
Jack, the general manager at Fox Sports Midwest, got a full household of kids and grandkids. And congratulations to Jack and Louise. Great news.
Outstanding.
.3-0 the count on Peralta. A low strike.
I'll go back to what I said earlier. Cardinal fans waiting for this kind of day. Beyond that, Alan Craig waiting for this kind of day. 3-hit day for Craig, all extra base hits. The last home run, 408 feet.
And it's a walk to Peralta. Back-to-back games, long nights here at the ballpark, and our crew has just done a sensational job. The men and women that work at Fox Sports Midwest, and guys with us every single day, which is Tom Mee and Mike Helling, Brian McCann, Keith Oberman, his assistant Keith O'Brien, Tim Garcia and Brian McCann, and list goes on and on. But
Danny Martinez,
you folks are the absolute best, and we appreciate all your work. One ball and one strike on Greg Garcia.
Also love what we've been able to do this year with our cameramen and women who have been giving us just great shots and very close-up shots of the field of play, and just trying some new things this year. And you know, the baseball experience is of course terrific here at the ballpark, Dan, and there's nothing like that. But I think if you're going to enjoy baseball on Fox Sports Midwest, we want to make sure you have that feeling of being there the best way we know how.
The 2-1 pitch. 2-2.
That's our RF camera that you just saw a shot from down the right field line. That is very mobile. It can move throughout the ballpark, and we're trying to get you unique shots throughout the season, and I hope you enjoy it.
Three and two on Garcia. Double and a run scored back in the fifth. Struck out in the third and has also rounded out to short. That's it out of play.
You'd have to believe this is Wong's last inning. I'd be surprised if he went longer than that.
You know, you and I have talked about the language barrier that some players have, and that applies to Wong. His language is Mandarin. He does have a translator with him, Jay Shu. He's a translator that travels with the club for Wong, and we know he can dance. The strikeout of Garcia.
Talked about that video. We had a chance offline to get a little sneak preview of that video that the bullpen is doing on a regular basis, and I kind of liked it. You've got to be a little bit different to be a reliever. Let's just say that.
For stadium in St. Louis, that's coming from a left-hander.
Well, think Al Raboski times 6. That's what a bullpen is.
I prefer starting.
No, it's never a dull moment in the bullpen.
Here's Tony Cruz. See Al on the postgame show with Pat Paris today over at Ballpark Village and Fox Sports Midwest Live. Oh, 1 pitch. Not a lot will be made of it, but there were 2 at-bats in which combined Tony Cruz saw 20 pitches. Pitch got elevated on Garza, who left with a thumb injury, calling it a right thumb contusion. A couple of ground outs. Maybe he did it at the plate. Looked to be jammed, by the way, on the one that he hit
it to the right side of the infield. He got jammed, just thinking the same thing, and Matt Adams made the play, and they flipped it, and the inning was over. He went back out to the mound to pitch, and I'm betting it has something to do with that at bat.
2-1 now, 2-2.
Hitters talk about getting right in on my thumbs, and that may very well have happened to Matt Garza.
The 2-2. It's fouled back. By the way, the Cardinals wanted us to pass along. There is a Sunday brunch now over at Cardinals Nation. So come on down this weekend. It's on non-game days, so we're out of town. We'll be in Chicago. Come on over for brunch. Prime rib and the omelets, anything you're looking for. Complimentary parking available on the Ballpark Village lot. That starts this Sunday. Mother's Day is coming up as well, so chance to head on over there. Popped up again to the right side. Herrera coming on. Ooh, makes the catch. And back to the bag goes Peralta. How deep he was playing.
Looked a little uncomfortable in right field, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. go ahead and give Vicki Bryant a call, and she'll take care of you for that Sunday brunch. As Herrera, you're right, does not look comfortable at times in this series.
Didn't with the ball Shelby hit. He's helped his own cause here this afternoon. He's pitching well. Made it through 6 innings. Did give up the 2 home runs early on, but Shelby's settled in and again helped his own cause. Herrera playing much deeper now against Miller after Shelby hit the ball over his head. That came in the 5th inning.
Wong may not be able to comb his hair tomorrow. It's 66 pitches coming out of the pen for Milwaukee. The 1-1. It's always a risky run. You have a Rule 5 guy, and yet this is a team that has the #1 record in baseball, contending team, and a Rule 5 player. The Cardinals have had a handful over the last 10 to 15 years. But you're not talking about a player that you wouldn't think, not always the case, but would be a difference maker on your club. And in this case, Wong, and here we are for the Brewers, game number 28, has made a total of 4 appearances, including today. So they have to keep him at the big league level.
It has not been an issue yet for them because they've got so much production out of everybody else. 2 other left-handers in their bullpen, Zach Duke and Will Smith, off to good starts. The rest of the bullpen, the right-handers, even better. Tyler Thornburg is just on fire in their bullpen right now. He's a guy that can go longer. Has been a starter in the past.
On the 3-2, Miller strikes out. That sends us to the 7th. Cardinals pick up a home run from Allen Craig. He has 3 RBIs. And he picked up his 3rd home run of the season. To the Cardinals Hall of Famers announced earlier today. Marty Marion, part of the class that's headed in. Over 1,500 games with the Cardinals and part of the great decade of the 40s run. MVP in 44 and an 8-time All-Star. That's Marty Marion.
Played with the Cardinals that entire decade and really a different kind of tall, graceful infielder. Really ahead of his time in some ways. Outstanding defender. Not really a power hitter, but a guy that just an outstanding part of those 40s Cardinal winners. He joins Willie McGee and Jim Edmonds and that man, Mike Shannon, in the first class.
There's Ricky Weeks. So Wong's day is through. 4 runs, 6 hits. But he does give the Brewers, more importantly maybe today, they've already won the series, but he did give them 3 innings that they needed out of their bullpen. Back-to-back games, extra innings, so needed him to give them some innings and outs, and he did that today. 2 balls and no strikes on Ricky Weeks. Shelby Miller has struck out 1 today. And Shelby is our BJC Healthcare difference maker in this ball game today.
6 innings, 3 earned runs, all coming off the home run. And you mentioned just 1 strikeout. And he helped himself with that double.
Today is the 12th home game of the season for the Cardinals. They are 6-5. And you would think before this season is through, if this is the team that we think it can be, you'll see a team that's 10, 15 games above 500 at home, at least. Leadoff walk. So the one thing that we began talking about was home runs and walks with Miller. He gave up 2 today. He walked 3, and Mike Matheny out to potentially make a change here.
Well, Shelby's walked 3 or more in his last 4 starts. At this point, it's just a conversation, and now it's more than that, as Randy Choate, the left-hander, will come on in relief of Shelby Miller.
Veteran lefty is off to a good start.
Very good start. 7+ innings, low ERA. Been in 10 games. Shelby Miller, very good start for him today. 6 innings, 3 runs. I'm just thinking here, though, Dan, about what the difference is when your club gives you the run support that the Cardinals have given him here today with 9 runs on 11 hits. Had the Cardinals had one of the days that we've seen them have in the last 2 weeks where they have no runs on 2 hits, we're looking at Shelby and talking about the mistakes that he made instead of how good he did.
Good point. Carlos Gomez with a runner at first, nobody out. Rick Horton, Dan McLaughlin, Jim Hayes with you. And a 9-3 St. Louis lead. Big blast in this game from Matt Adams. It's a foul ball. Alan Craig. Pair of doubles, home run, 3 RBIs. And again, there's Gomez going after that first pitch. He is certainly not, in my mind, a prototypical leadoff man. Now, he does have speed, but he's got power with 7 home runs. You know, and some leadoff men over the years have been the type that will take a pitch and another so that they can get a read and, you know, time set the table.
Keeps him loose a little bit, as if he needs to be any looser. In some ways, he reminds me of Ricky Henderson. In some ways, he doesn't. And the power from the leadoff spot is the similarity, but Ricky Henderson would walk a lot. You know, they both run very, very well. They both have the ability to beat you with their legs and with their power. Henderson, in my mind, one of the most difficult batters to pitch to that I've ever encountered. And I think it's that fear that, boy, I can't walk him, but boy, I sure don't want to give him something good to hit either, and no way to pitch when you're thinking those two thoughts at the same time. Hall of Famer.
Saw Gomez on foul balls. He always goes back to his bat and smells it. Mark McGwire, you may remember, with Ted Williams. This is a base hit into center field. Weeks will stop at second. It was the home run derby, and the All-Star game was at Fenway Park, and he called over McGwire. And Ted Williams said, when you hit the ball like that, do you smell burnt wood? And he said, yes, I do. He said, I did too. And that's what Gomez is doing. Albert Pujols said he used to do that too.
Albert liked to listen to his bat too, and we see him all the time on the bench, and during batting practice he would kind of flick the bat with his pointer finger and then listen to the sound that it would make to see if the wood was right. And you know, it's the tools of the trade.
This is Herrera, who has a single back in the third. Crowd today of 40,783. 40783. Getting word now that Matt Garza jammed his thumb in his final at bat, as we suspected, in the fourth. Strike 2. First two have reached, and the 0-2 pitch got him. Strikeout of Herrera in on his hands, and Choate gets the first out. We've seen that Randy Choate, Rick, has been used more than just a lefty specialist. The Cardinals feel comfortable with him facing right-handers this year.
He's used that slider a lot against right-handers. You saw Herrera the pitch before, swinging as if he was on roller skates and way off balance. Why not throw another one like that?
Scooter Gennett, foul ball, out of play. Mike Matheny was asked about the schedule and the way that things have played out for the Cardinals early on with all these road games, and he said surprisingly, and he's happy about it, but not much groaning about it. You know, players realizing it's something you have to do. One way or another, you will play 81 and 81, and here's a double play ball. Out at second, the turn by Garcia. Out at first, it's a double play. Nice work by the lefty Randy Choate. 6-4-3 double play, and it's time to stretch. in St. Louis, wrapping up the homestand this afternoon. Zach Duke takes over for the Milwaukee Brewers. And we take a look at the Mazda game summary. Cardinals with a lead of 9-3. Garza, the 3 innings, the 5 hits, left with a thumb contusion. Carlos Gomez has a home run, pair of hits. Shelby Miller has a chance to win the ball game today, prove his record of 3-2 if this lead holds. And Alan Craig now hitting over 200, came in at 192. And the Cardinals face what is now turned into a very good lefty out of the pen, our Chevy call, and that is Zach Duke.
Really adapted well to the bullpen, and he takes over here in the 7th inning. Both Brewers pitchers went 3 innings and threw a lot of pitches, 153 pitches for the Brewers through 6 innings of work, and that includes 6 walks, 6 strikeouts, and most importantly, from the Cardinals fan point of view, Alan Craig having a very good afternoon here today. 2 doubles and a home run, as you mentioned in your summary, and 3 RBIs.
Top of the lineup for the Cardinals, and Matt Carpenter. Zach Duke, take a look at the arm angle, and this is why he's become effective out of the pen. He's dropped it down 3/4, sometimes below. He works from the first base side of the rubber, so it's as if he's throwing behind the hitter, and very effective against left-handed batters. Carpenter walked and scored back in the 4th.
He continues to do that. That'll keep him in this game for a long time, getting lefties out.
Not this lefty. That's a base hit out to left center field. Carpenter has his first hit. Matt Carpenter, though, not your typical lefty.
He is not.
Led the league in hits a year ago, and here's John Jay, who's had a big afternoon. RBI, 3 hits, 3 runs scored.
We've been talking about the Cardinals' inability this year offensively to bunch hits. It's exactly what they've done here today. John Jay's been a part of it a couple of different times. One time reaching base via a walk that came in the 3rd inning. He scored later, and then a base hit in the 4th when the Cardinals scored 2.
Nothing in 2 the count. No activity in the Cardinals pen, so you do have the off day tomorrow, and maybe another inning from Randy Choate.
Or at least another 2/3 of an inning from Randy Choate.
Here's the breaking ball, and John Jay retired for the first time. Line on Shelby Miller. 6+, 6 hits, 3 runs. All were earned. Walked 3, and just 1 strikeout. 90 pitches for Shelby.
Makes managing against the Milwaukee Brewers a little easier when you're not really worried about them using their bench, which is exactly where you are right now. 3 solid right-handed bats off of their bench here this afternoon, but they're all hurt. Ryan Braun dealing with a rib cage issue, elbow issue for Aramis Ramirez, and Jose Segura with a face contusion.
One of the oddest injuries you'll ever see with Gene Segura. Ryan Braun in the hole, top step of the dugout, which is what he does all the time. Waving the bat, and waved it right into the face of Gene Segura. Popped up on the outfield grass. The second baseman, Scooter Gennett, puts it away. 2 down, and it brings in Matt Adams. Adams with a big blast back into 3rd. Really woke up this crowd.
Sure did.
Woke up the bats too. Alan Craig is hit in 16 of his last 19 games.
He's been a difference maker to be sure, but Matt Adams' home run, Dan, in that third inning came when the score at the time was 3-1 Brewers, and you kind of had that dread feeling going on. Cardinals took an early lead. Milwaukee pounced in the second and the third, and you thought, oh no, not again. And Adams really changed this game and the complexion of the game with that home run.
1-2 pitch. Craig with the 3 hits, who's on deck, is now 8 for his last 20. The 2-2. Strikeout of Adams. So Duke strikes out 2. We head to the 8th. St. Louis on top. And a Bomberito Sports Update with Pat Paris. The second inning of work here for Randy Choate. Choate was able to get a strikeout, then a double play. Randall Grichuk, his versatility on display. He was in center last night, takes over in left. Played right field, the game in which he made his debut.
Just a straight switch for Matt Holliday. Really a plus defender is Grichuk.
Jonathan Lucroy at the plate. On deck man is Overbay. Arch in the background and the Budweiser scoreboard here at Busch Stadium. 1 ball, 1 strike. So Martinez is throwing in the pen for St. Louis. He pitched on Sunday, came in the 9th of a 7-0 lead and game for St. Louis. Pitched on Monday as well. Kevin Segrist was dealing with some lower back issues. The high fly ball to Grichuk. 1 away. Hyatt Regency St. Louis at the Arch, offering an incredible Cardinals package this season that includes overnight accommodations, tickets to a weekend home game, personalized Louisville Slugger bat, and a $25 food and beverage credit to Brewhouse or Red Kitchen and Bar. 655-1234 or visit stlouisarch.hyatt.com. Here's Lyle Overbay. Overbay hitless. Fly to left twice and is struck out.
my point about being easy to manage against the Brewers. It's not that this team's easy to play against right now, but when you think about their limited flexibility to go right-hander for left-hander, they just, here's our lineup, deal with it. And so the opposing manager can just kind of figure out, well, where does the lefty fit, where does the righty fit, without worrying about a pinch hitter messing up your strategy. And that's exactly what we're seeing here. No right-handed bat to face for to pinch hit for Overbay against Choate, who's very, very tough on lefties.
I think if you're the Brewers front office, you say, we'll go a handful of games and play with a short bench and roster, because you could put Braun on the DL or Segura, but then you're talking half
days.
A month.
Exactly. And what you hate to have is short-term injuries for multiple players. And that's exactly what they're experiencing right now. Really at the same time. And you know, it's one thing if they overlap even a little bit differently, but they all basically have happened recently.
Three and two.
Choate thought that might have hit the corner.
We'll see if you're right, if Choate can get Overbay here, and if Mike Matheny then goes to his bullpen with Davis on deck. Strikeout on the outside corner. Randy Choate has struck out 2.
He tried that corner one other time, didn't get the call, and he gets this one.
Here's Davis, who has reached on an error, scored a run today. One thing that the Cardinals do, every team is doing, is that they chart the pitches, even the warm-up tosses by Carlos Martinez right now. Trying to realize how to work him, how much they can work him. As Davis was hit by that pitch. There's a look at Martinez. He's wearing the number previously worn by Jason Isringhausen at one point out of that bullpen.
Cardinals throughout the minor leagues, really, I remember Nick Leyva doing it quite a bit as a minor league manager for the Cardinals years and years ago, would have a chart up in the manager's office, and it would have every pitcher, and you would have an X if you didn't throw at all. You would have an S if you threw a side, and for how many minutes, and then if you were in the game, how many pitches you threw, and that was charted very particularly, as well as the number of times you warmed up. You'd get a W for those, and I just think it was helpful for the coach to realize just how much a reliever would throw beyond perhaps what the stats say.
Exactly. Relievers will go out before the game and play catch, get a feel for their body, and if there's any kind of issues, you'll go to your manager and say, maybe I do need a day off. It doesn't happen a lot, but it does happen here and there along the way. There's Segrist on the left and Seth Maness on the right. Cardinals are getting healthier with their pitching. You got Jaime Garcia and Jason Mott scheduled to make rehab assignments, so that starts the clock. And you can pretty much say, okay, if they report to Springfield, it happens this weekend, mid-May. Anticipate them being back in the big leagues. The 2-1.
Such great news.
In talking with the Cardinals, they are thrilled with what they've seen from Garcia. And Mott, the velocity just keeps getting better and better and better. Question with him is back-to-back days. If you're a reliever at this level, you've got to be able to go back-to-back. There's a high fly ball. The catch is made on the track by John Jay. Nice work from the lefty Randy Choate. Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Bud Light. It reminds fans to stay in the game and drink responsibly. And by Ford, the official cars and trucks of the St. Louis Cardinals. Some of the memorabilia at the Hall of Fame just across the street at Ballpark Village. Encourage fans come down early or stay late. Make sure you take that in if you're coming down to a game or anytime the Cardinals are out of town. Ballpark Village is open. A Chevy called to the pen, and I'm sure Rick did not have him listed among the relievers. It's Martin Maldonado.
That's why we don't have any numbers for Martin Maldonado, because they would be all offensive numbers. He's a catcher, but he will have the bottom of the 8th. This is always fun.
78 miles an hour.
What's wrong with that? His goal, really, don't get hurt and throw strikes.
It's right in there with a Rick Horton fastball. Is that what you're telling me?
Stepped right into that, yeah.
Alan Craig, our player of the game here today with 3 hits. Make it 4. Base hit into right. So a pair of doubles, a home run, a single, and a triple away from the cycle. You hit on something that was so important when you think about Maldonado, and it's our Budweiser player of the game, Alan Craig. The key is don't get hurt.
Yeah.
I find it interesting that a backup catcher is doing this.
Well, you know, obviously he's got a good arm as a catcher, and really there aren't any other choices. I guess you look down at that too, because the other 3 guys are hurt on the bench. He's the last man standing for the Brewers, other than their relievers that they're trying to stay away from. So he's really the only choice. And what you're really hoping for is that, and I'm sure they had him throw underneath the tunnel and just say, okay, let's just work on just playing catch with the catcher, and that's the kind of the coaching tip. Don't try to do too much. Just throw the ball over the plate. Somebody will catch it sooner or later.
How about the pressure on the hitter facing the position player? You don't want to be embarrassed.
You just don't want to strike out.
Exactly. 3-1.
Think about Felipe Lopez getting a chance to pitch for the Cardinals, and it hurt his arm, and he was out for a while. And that's the point about not being injured.
Line shot to third for the out. Aaron Miles did this. Skip Schumacher. Scott Spezio.
Jose Oquendo. Multiple times.
Greg Garcia picked up a double. That was in the 5th. His first ever big league hit. Came around to score on a double by Shelby Miller that inning. Cardinals with 13 hits. 1 ball, 1 strike.
What position players always find, Dan, is when they get a chance to do this.
Oh, nice play at third. And it's a double play. No, safe at first. But what a play down at third.
That's Bianchi to his left. Well done. It gives you a little idea of the speed of Garcia, too, because that was turned pretty quickly, but he beats the throw. When I was saying about the position players that get a chance to pitch in a game like this, they're always surprised the next day that their arm is sore in a different way. And there's something about being on the mound, going downhill, and the delivery of a pitcher. It's different than playing catch. You can make a lot of throws from the outfield, from behind the plate, wherever it is, but the stress on your arm is different when you're actually in a delivery, and I'm sure tomorrow he'll feel it a little bit.
All these guys growing up, probably the best players on their teams, little league and high school, college. And
he's pitched before.
Exactly. That's the point. He's been on the mound before. Took some off that. It's popped up by Tony Cruz, and it's out of play. So I would assume it's not foreign to many of the position players that get a chance to do it. It's just something they haven't done in a long time, probably.
Well, Oquendo did it. The real fear for most of the Cardinal pitchers that he'd be so good at it that we might lose our jobs, because he kind of had that little breaking ball, and he changed speeds, he turned it over, and he kind of did know what he was doing.
Cardinals have scored 6, which means any size coffee fountain and frozen drink, only 50 cents all day tomorrow at On the Run. Where third baseman is busy with a position player on the mound. A couple lineouts, a scoreless inning for Maldonado. Here today, Eric Fornatero, who now has an ERA. Chevy called to the pen. He gave up a couple of runs over the weekend against Pittsburgh, so it's been a while since we've seen him.
Perfect time to use it in a game like this. The Cardinals are enjoying the kind of game that they had hoped they would see plenty of in the month of April. Unfortunately, the offense has not been hitting on all cylinders. The Cardinals, with a win here this afternoon, would move to 15-14 for the month.
Be the position player this year the Cardinals would turn to give you innings, maybe Descalso.
That's who I would guess.
Who also, by the way, pitched in college.
See why? He has a strong arm.
Great arm.
Actually, what you really want,
somebody below the hitting speed?
No, you want a guy that's, you'd prefer infielders to outfielders. You want somebody who's used to the ball being hit, because they become an infielder, obviously, once you deliver the ball. But somebody who's not afraid to kind of be used to fielding a ball that's hit hard and be ready for it. And I think infielders are more apt to be that kind of player. I think the long throw, long arm throw, and the kind of a different defensive preparation for an outfielder, I don't think fits as well.
Jeff Bianchi at the plate. Two balls and one strike. Bianchi is 0-for-3, and the count runs full to 3-2. Off day tomorrow. Reminder will be in Chicago. First two games of that series on Fox Sports Midwest beginning Friday. And made it to the upper deck. A rare foul ball that goes above us.
Don't see many of those.
11 on that play.
I saw that.
That's how you mark it down, and it's rule book number 13.-27. There's a base hit. This copyrighted telecast presented by the authority of the Cardinals and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Could you repeat that?
No, I'm doing that for you. Gene Segura. We saw him last night. He dropped down a bunt. First pitch up and in. See the right eye and the cheek.
Probably not that excited about the first pitch being up and in on him either.
Good point. It's the bat of Ryan Braun that injured Segura.
Going to have happy feet in this at bat.
There's a base hit. That's fair. Off the sidewall. And it'll be second and third. Nobody out.
You know, it's just the kind of year the Brewers have had, that they've gotten off to such a great start, 20-7 coming into this game, and then the game they lose, they're losing by quite a bit, although not done yet here in the ninth inning. There's a late swing and a good one by Segura, but to have a game where you get to have your catcher pitch becomes a team fun day. I mean, even if they lose today, it's just another sign to me that things go well for the Brewers, because they get to kind of have some laughs over that, and they will. When a team's winning, that is a fun thing, even in the midst of a loss.
1-0 here on Carlos Gomez. And Cruz out to visit with Fornatero. I think it's always something you keep a watchful eye on when a rookie comes up, has a little success, and then hits that first bump where they give up a couple of hits. How do they respond the next time out? Well, in this case, Fornatero's in a little bit of trouble with runners at second and third, nobody out.
Chance to show something here to pitch out of it, and with that look of Maldonado, is he expecting to pitch the bottom of the ninth?
Looked like he had the arm wrapped. He was ready to go.
I'm the pitcher of record, and I'm going to act like it.
Here's ball back to Fornatero. Looks back the runner at third. Nice pick by Adams at first, and there's one away.
He's talking about his mechanics now, working on them. Got the sleeve on just one arm. Got the hat tilted backward he does look like a pitcher.
Tell you what, he was pretty free and easy and hitting mid-80s. See that a guy like Schumacher get on the mound, or a Molina, players that just have cannons for arms and rear back and fire it. You'd see 90-mile-an-hour pitches from those two. There's a ball to Elian Herrera. 1 for 4 today.
Looking through the Cardinals roster of players, it's hard to find too many choices. That you mentioned Descalzo, and you go beyond that and you say, I wouldn't want to see that. Probably wouldn't be a good fit for him. I think it's Descalzo.
Might be your emergency catcher as well.
I was just going to say the same thing. Can't do both at the same time.
Haven't seen that in the game. Usually you take a look at the backup infielders. You could go with the 36-year-old Mark Ellis, who we would assume is now going to be the primary starter at second base with Wong down. And a fly ball that's lifted out to left. Grichuk has a good arm. We'll see it here. Wow. Love watching that.
Maybe there's your pitcher. That is not a left fielder's arm.
Caught my attention. So Fornatero has a chance to walk away unscathed. The fans on their feet, 40,000 plus here at Busch Stadium. Some of them begin to rise. Runners at second and third with 2 down. Scooter Gennett, the final hope for Milwaukee. Strike one. Oh, 1 pitch. Strike two. Gennett with a pair of base hits. In the hole here. Fly ball. Right field, long way to go. He's under it. That's Craig, and the Cardinals have win number 15 on the year. They salvage a game in this series. They win it 9-3.
And they finish over 500 for the month of April. A lot of good things happening here this afternoon, but the best thing was Alan Craig breaking out offensively with 4 hits, 3 RBIs, including 2 doubles and a long home run.
So 13 hit attack for St. Louis. It's on to Missouri Lottery. Cardinals live next.